Nationalizing Frontier Airlines for significant scheduling problems during the COVID-19 pandemic. And today is National Clean Out Your Refrigerator Day. Health experts say you should empty your refrigerator, throw out any recalled food items, and wash all removable parts. SoCal weather from KFI. Sunny day ahead with highs in the 60s, but we've got a Santa Ana wind event starting this evening, roughly 8 o'clock. That's when we have a wind warning that kicks in, and gusty winds should last all through the week. This report is brought to you by El Monte RV. From the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, let's go places and back to the 10.
Well, I got the attention of radio studio. Stuck with that cleaner refrigerator routine, that's for sure. All right, really good news, especially if you're driving west on the San Bernardino Freeway through the 710, going over towards the Kennedy General Hospital, an extremely busy place, but good news, everything is open here. We had one of a problem with one of the transitions, so not to worry about it. I do want to warn you about work we got up West LA now, North 405 Wilshire Boulevard, north of 10, truck carrying cement bags. A friend of mine always reminds me, cement comes in bags, concrete comes in trucks. There's a truck right in the middle of the freeway. We're on the 710 right now. Boy, it sure is busy. We're going down towards the 405. Always more problem. But so far, in between the 5, we're almost over the 91. Both sides are class free. All lanes are up. But boy, there's a lot of volume here, that's for sure. Jeff KFI in the sky. When you're ready to hit the road, El Monte RV has a wide range of RVs to rent or buy. Their pet-friendly RVs come with upgraded amenities, and some even have slide-outs for more room when you need it. Experience the freedom of the open road. Visit elmonterv.com or call 800-337-2149. This report is sponsored by Lowe's. It's Pro Time. Because at Lowe's, it's Pro-Member. Over 30 days to save big. Full of more inventory, more Lowe's MVP's bonus points, and more the deals you deserve. Because it always pays to be a pro at Lowe's. Save all Pro-Member long. Amazon business honors Ricardo Bertrand, owner of Legend Group Chatter. This week, Ricardo saved big and used Amazon business to help his team buy commercial beef fries at a quantity discount. Because even veggies can be fried.
I'm gonna need 2 orders of fried fiddleheads.
With business buying easier than before, Ricardo now uses his extra time to focus on growing something big. Buy smarter, dream bigger. Visit Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying. Fiddleheads. Oh. Enough is enough. It's time. Time to start demanding the best for yourself and the best for your life. It's time to call 4M Dental Implant Center for the beautiful and confident smile you've always wanted. Your teeth affect every part of your life, every introduction, every laugh. Every new experience starts and ends with your smile. Stop doubting yourself and stop doubting your smile. 4M is the leader in permanent teeth and one-day procedures, and the only choice for a new and natural smile that will last a lifetime. Call now and get your consultation, x-ray, and CAT scan absolutely free. 4M Dental Implant Center, for the life and smile you deserve. For change, for happiness, for you, 4M. Call 800-4M Dental today. Hey, y'all, it's Team Shark. Let's talk about your windows. I know a couple of things about your sad, sorry windows. I know there's a whole slew of reasons why you want new ones. Lower energy bills, more peace and quiet, better curb appeal, and how about just windows that actually open and close? I also know we can talk all we want, but if they're not affordable, it's not going to happen. I hear you, and I have an answer for you. Call Gene and Karen at Window World. I love Window World exactly because they specialize in windows perfectly positioned at that intersection of quality, beauty, and affordability. And Window World offers 0 down, interest-free financing for up to 60 months. 6 windows and install for as little as $86 a month. 5 windows and a patio door for as little as $119 a month. Your dream of new windows can become a reality because Window World makes new windows affordable. To learn more, just dial 877-75-WORLD, 877-75-WORLD, or go to windowworldsocal.com.
Moments like making my kids my favorite meatballs mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, Palbociclib. Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with a neuromin
conversation the guy has had with the Tim Conway Jr. Show. Now it's you. Your phone is going to go right down there. Weekday to 6 on KMI. And this is KMI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. Tuesday morning, November 15th. One of the stories that obviously we're carrying, I mean the whole country is what happened Sunday night at University of Virginia. A student allegedly, shot and killed 3 university football players and wounded 2 others. And this was on a bus coming back from a school event. It happened on campus, and it's another major mass shooting. I had said when we were listening to a press conference that I thought the police chief was going to say, this is extraordinarily good news. I'm going to give you about the shooting. Only 3 students were killed. And I think that's far from the truth. And so here's what we're getting, because obviously a lot of talk is going on again about gun control. We should do something, everybody should be armed. We had in Highland Park, 4th of July, park shooting, Tulsa, Oklahoma, of course, Uvalde, and there's a lot of shooting going on. And I want to give you a little bit of facts. This is not me saying, because I'm done with this, saying gun control, gun control, gun control. You know where I sit. But I do want to give you a little bit of perspective, politically and legally. No other high-income country has anywhere close to death toll we have from gun violence. Every day, 110 Americans die at the end of a gun, which includes suicide and homicide. We're talking 40,000 deaths per year. So since 2009, the average is 19 mass shootings that occur every year. And those are shootings in which at least 4 people were killed. And so our homicide rate is 26 times that of the next highest high-income country. The gun suicide rate is 12 times. So the death is 26 times. The suicide rate is only 12 times. And what gun control opponents do is typically frame the whole thing, the epidemic, on mental health issues. That's the problem. It's not people owning guns. The problem is mental health, and we're not doing enough about that. Well, let me think that through for a moment. Every country has people with mental health issues. And some, it's pretty universal in terms of the number who are mentally ill. So those problems aren't unique. What's unique is our view of civilian gun ownership, the politics, the culture, the law since this country was founded, because there are very few countries that were created out of an armed citizenry. So we have had some laws. This year there was a deal on limited gun reform for the first time in nearly 30 years, but it didn't stop guns from being sold. It didn't stop people from buying assault weapons, none of that. It was pretty small stuff. And we don't know how many privately owned guns there are in America. There's no database that goes across the country. And we don't have any registration where people have to register their guns across the country, particularly those guns. So the Small Arms Survey, which is a Swiss-based research group, that's looking to this across the country, says here in the U.S. approximately 390 million guns in circulation, and that was in 2018. Probably a lot more since then. 120 firearms per 100 residents. So it's 20% more than the number of people we have. Say about 20% than the number of people. And it's probably climbed in the years since, because during the pandemic, of course, 1 in 5 households bought a gun. And Yemen has the world's second highest level of gun ownership. That's less than half as much, way less than half. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Now, here's something you may have not known. We think they're, knowing that we have more guns than people in this country, actually only a tiny minority of households really do own guns. 3% according to this survey. About half of the guns are owned by 3%. This is both the survey at Harvard and Northeastern University studies. These people are called super owners, an average of 17 guns each. Oh, good. Now, Gallup has a different methodology, and they said 42% of Americans own guns. So we have big numbers. And here is some real science and stats. Clear link between gun ownership in the United States and gun violence. More guns, more violence. And no one can get around that. There is definitely a link between gun deaths and gun ownership, much stronger than the link between violence and mental health. In other words, the number of guns have more to do with the violence and the mental health issue by far. And if violent crime, if we got rid of all schizophrenia, all bipolarity, all depressive disorders, violent crime in the U.S. would fall by 4%. Because so many people have guns that are using too often. And the mental ill story actually is a red herring, according to these studies. And here's what's going on. The idea pushed by gun manufacturers, gun rights organizations, the NRA, for example, says the answer is further arming America. The answer is more people having guns. Because the more guns that are out there, the safer you're going to be, and that is incorrect, just a direct contradiction to everything that's out there. Also, you have the self-defense narrative. That doesn't work either when you're talking about numbers. We hear about cases where some bad guy breaks into a home and a 92-year-old great-grandma takes a gun and either confronts him or shoots him, and therefore, look at that. Or we have a witness takes out a gun and shoots the bad guy. And does it happen? Yeah. That percentage, tiny. And so self-defense is the answer. That is the answer from gun advocates. Including hunting, recreation, owning antiques, heirlooms, work-related, all of that. It is basically everything but self-protection. And then you have the U.S. Supreme, which has said gun ownership, Second Amendment is there. And if you look at the language of the Second Amendment, and this is the part that I have wondered about for many years, the Second Amendment reads as follows. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state in the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. When's the last time anyone's defined a well-regulated militia? Ever. Courts ignore that. Everybody ignores that. The well-regulated militia simply doesn't exist. In court cases, well, it did in the 30s, but certainly not the Heller decision, which is relatively recent in the way the courts are going. There's no such thing as a militia in this country. Oh, no, there's a National Guard. I call that a militia. But no, it doesn't exist. It's only simply on its face the right to bear arms. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of background and some real stats. And the bottom line for those people that say it's self-protection is crap. Okay, and it's mental illness. That's the problem, not gun ownership. That's Ted Cruz. It's mental illness. That's the problem. And everybody should have a gun. That's one way of looking at it, and that's the way we do look at it here. All right, I sound like a gun control nut case. I'm trying not to. Just wanted to give you some recent information. Coming up, Tech Tuesday with Rich DeMuro. We got a lot to cover on this Tuesday morning. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. We're not just in smart speakers. We're in a couple of smart ears as well. KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Starting to break away. I'm Jennifer Jones-Lee live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. The race for mayor of LA is now separated by 29,000 votes. Karen Bass is pulled ahead of Rick Caruso as the mail-in ballots continue to be counted. In the race for LA County Sheriff, Robert Luna has 60% of the vote. Current Sheriff Alex Villanueva has 40%, and West Hollywood City Councilwoman Lindsay Horvath is ahead in the race to fill the seat on the County Board of Supervisors. She's ahead of State Senator Bob Hertzberg by more than 8,800 votes. The county registrar says more than 655,000 ballots still need to be counted. Jay Leno is recovering from gasoline burns to his face and hands.
Leno says the fire happened inside the garage in Burbank, where he keeps a large number of vintage cars and sports cars. The Burbank Police Department says Leno was injured Sunday when he was taken to the Grossman Burn Center in West Hills. The hospital says Leno is in stable condition and is in good humor and touched by all the inquiries into his condition and the well wishes. Leno's canceled his appearance for this Saturday at Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank and a show at the Financial Brands Forum in Las Vegas. Leno tweeted yesterday that it's okay, he just needs a week or two to get on his feet. Gregory, take the fine news.
Jennifer Newsom is testified in the sexual assault trial of Harvey Weinstein. The wife of Governor Newsom, provided jurors yesterday with a graphic account of what she called a violent assault that lasted for over an hour. Newsom was the seventh woman to testify about how Weinstein used his status to frustrate in hotel rooms where he could sexually assault them. She's expected to return to the stand today. Two French bulldogs have been ripped away from their owners on the 6th Street Bridge in LA.
The thieves pulled up on people walking their dogs Friday. One got out and took the dogs at gunpoint. Owner of rare French bulldogs in Riverside, Michelle Krebs, says she warns her customers about the dogs being stolen. She says her dogs are never left alone.
People do know that I have millions of dogs in my home, and that I have a number of them.
Krebs says French bulldogs are averaging more than $3,000 right now. She says thieves often sell them at a lower price. Blake Trolley, KFI News.
Former Dodger outfielder Yasiel Puig has pleaded guilty to lying to federal officials about bets on games he played with an illegal gambling operation. Puig has agreed to pay a fine of at least $55,000. He's expected to appear in federal court in LA today. Former President Trump is expected to announce he will enter the 2024 presidential race at a rally at Mar-a-Lago. Trump has experienced a setback following his party's midterm performance. Many candidates he backed in high-profile contests were defeated. The House committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol says it's considering the next step if former President Trump was a no-show for his deposition. It was supposed to happen yesterday. Former Vice President Pence says President Trump's words during a rally on January 6th were reckless. Pence told ABC News' David Muir he was angered by a tweet Trump sent that day saying Pence didn't have the courage to do what should be done.
And I told him, despite what you issued last night from your campaign, Mr. President, you know, I'm very clear that I don't have the authority to reject votes.
Pence also says he told Trump many times they lost the election and reminded the president they both took an oath to support and defend the Constitution. The house in Ohio used as the setting in the 1983 classic A Christmas Story is up for sale. The owners bought it for $150,000 in 2006, spent $200,000 making it exactly like the house in the movie. You know, the one where Ralphie pines for a certain Christmas present.
Horrified. I heard myself blurt it out.
I wanted just a regular to come and actually do it showings while I was.
Now, realtor Shaq Whitmer says the house is part of a package.
There's a museum, the office's house, gift shop, parking lots.
He says it's for sale because the owners are looking for a new venture. We're going to look at your job on the 405, but first it's Sports with Wayne.
The Clippers are still without Kawhi Leonard, but that didn't stop them from beating the Houston Rockets 122-106. Coach Ty Lue did have some concerns early in that game.
Yeah, we could have got some better shots, and we took some questionable shots early on. In the halftime, we just addressed like we can get any shot we want to get.
The Clips move to the Dallas Mavericks at 5:30 today, live on AM 570 LA Sports. In hockey, the Kings lost to the Calgary Flames 6-5. The Ducks get the Detroit Red Wings at 7. I'm Wayne Resnick, KFI Sports.
Checking your KFI financial report, the Dow is up 209, S&P up 44, NASDAQ up 207, and the average price of a gallon of unleaded gas in California is $5.43. SoCal weather from KFI. We've got a sunny start to the day and temperatures in the 60s, but the gusty winds are going to kick in. We've got Santa Ana rain starting tonight around 8. That's when we have a wind advisory that also starts. The gusty winds should last off and on through about Friday. Warmer temperatures in the forecast will be in the 70s, and we do have low humidity in the forecast, so that will raise our fire danger. Right now, it is 50 right here in Burbank, 53 in Rancho Santa Margarita. Let's get a look at your drive and meet KFI in the sky in the 405.
Sure, it's gorgeous out here.
I think the slowest section for you as you continue up towards LAX will be getting to the 110 to about Artesia Boulevard, and then things will improve. And there's one little mystery to me. If you're south on the 710, number one, to head down to the docks. So if we just came over, we'll go, boys, busy down there. But going south 710, starting at the 105 down to the 91, going west 91 and getting off in Alameda, there's something going on there. All of that traffic is just backed up, especially the right lane, south 710 approaching 91. So a little patience to get you through. But again, once you get through that, you'll be okay in the docks. And northbound, once you clear Firestone, I think it'd be in pretty good shape. But only around West LA, around northbound 405 and Wilshire Boulevard, so I'll check on that for you. The Santa Monica Freeway's just been busier beyond belief this morning, going west starting about Vermont. So blowing all that stuff up, be careful. Jeff on AFI in the sky. This hour of the Bill Hamble Show is brought to you by WDC Kitchen and Bath Center. Find the largest selection of in-stock appliances in Southern California at WDCappliances.com. WDCappliances.com. If you're looking to sell your home, you call Seller's Advantage and they'll make you a cash offer with no need for repairs. With Seller's Advantage, there are no agents. They can close in days and they buy in cash. And they offer a $10,000 advance to help with moving. Check out their reviews online and call for no obligation offer at 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-2747, and visit sellersadvantage.com.
Don't worry, self-shopping with Seller's Advantage.
DRE number 0961658. It's Ryan Seacrest here. So you tested positive for COVID. What's next? Treat yourself. COVID treatments are free. Taken by pill, these medications can stop the illness from getting serious. So treat yourself. Call a healthcare provider or the statewide COVID hotline at 833-422-4255 to find free treatment today. That's 833-422-4255. Again, 833-422-4255. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health. Survivors of clergy child sexual abuse in California have limited time to seek justice. Survivors have until December 31st, 2022 to take legal action. Contact Jeff Anderson and Associates for a confidential conversation. Call us at 1-800-ITS-TIME, 12011 San Vicente Boulevard, Suite 700, Los Angeles, California, and Attorney Advertising.
1-877 cars for kids. KARS cars for kids.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher. 1-877 cars for kids. Donate your car today. Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate. More stimulating talk. All the latest on the gadgets and stuff with KFI's resident, Handsome Bird. It's Tech Tuesday with Rich DeMiro. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. It's a Tuesday morning, November 15th. Karen Bass here in Los Angeles looks like she's taken the lead by more and more over Rick Caruso. They had by 29,000 votes in the mayoral race, and the numbers are getting bigger, so it's fair to say she's basically going to do it, win the race. Amazon laying off approximately 10,000 people in corporate technology jobs, and that may be one of the topics that we talk with KTLA's tech and our tech reporter, Rich DeMuro. Morning, Rich. Good morning to you, Bill. Okay, boy, we have a lot of stuff to cover. First of all, the failure of the crypto company FTX. I mean, it's billions of dollars that people may have lost going bankrupt. And the end of it is it was worth $12 billion yesterday. Today's broken. How does that affect the whole crypto world in general? Well, I think there's a couple things going on here. Number one, we know the story. Basically, FTX was a pretty big platform for purchasing crypto, and a lot of people had their money in there to the tune of billions of dollars, and of course it failed because the founder was doing some pretty shady stuff, it seems. This is all allegedly, the details are still coming out, but basically he was taking customer deposits, and which is a big no-no to do this, and using them to invest in his hedge fund business. And that is just like number one no-no. You can't, the money that you put in the bank, going on here? They started asking for withdrawals. And the company said, no, we're freezing withdrawals right now because we're trying to figure out what's going on. Realistically, there was no money for the withdrawals. I mean, there is some money on the balance sheet that this company has that they will try to get to, creditors and people that have money in there, but good luck with that. But, for the bigger crypto picture at large, you might feel like this is a failure of crypto. And if you look at the details, it's really not. It's a failure of this platform that held people's investments in crypto to actually hold them in the proper way. They were going against all the rules that are written about this stuff.
Right, so it's criminal activity is what it is. I mean, straight out fraud and criminality.
It was a Ponzi scheme. It was a fraud, and yeah, exactly. And so I think crypto has had a rough year, had a rough go, but this doesn't mean that crypto is a failure. It means that you got to be really careful about where you put your money. And I've been listening to interviews with other crypto exchanges like Coinbase and some other ones out there, and all the founders of these are saying, look, we're not set up this way. We don't do things that way. And so you shouldn't feel like you need to pull your stuff out immediately if you have this in a different exchange. But the other lesson learned here, Bill, is that there's two ways of holding crypto. It is through a third-party platform, let's say PayPal you can buy crypto through, or Coinbase, or Robinhood, or any of these platforms. Or you can kind of own your own wallet, which is way more complicated, only for the real tech savvy, and that's why most people don't do that. It's kind of like, I'm sure there's different ways of buying stocks, whether you go through like E-Trade or actually knowing how to buy stocks through like a real, stock company, whatever. Same thing with crypto. So anyway, I think that this is just one of those situations where it puts a bad name to the entire industry, but what was going on here was, like you said, allegedly criminal activity.
So I have a question regarding the holders of crypto. Effectively, they're escrow companies, trust companies that are holding it. If no one knows I have crypto, how are they holding on to crypto, and how do they even know how much I have?
Well, they do know. I mean, so that's the thing. Like, people think that crypto is, anonymous. It's not necessarily anonymous. Now, like I said, if you set up your own wallet and you did it like the actual way that the cryptocurrency is structured, where you go in and you set up your own key and your own wallet, and it's all on the blockchain, and you're not going through like a third-party proxy, then yeah, it's linked to you, but only you know that. When you go through one of these third-party sites like a Robinhood or PayPal or anywhere else you can buy crypto, you sign up with that service just like you would any bank account or any sort of financial service, and of course they link that to you. Now, people on the chain, when they're looking at that, may not see your name associated with it, but they'll see a number, and that number could be associated with you eventually somehow. And of course, if the government wants to figure that out, which is another thing, people think that the government can't figure out this crypto stuff. Of course they can. We've seen it happen over and over.
And so at this point, crypto, I know, is volatile as hell, but has it fallen because of this incident?
It did for a while. It seems to actually be back up to where it was. In fact, I think it's actually past 5 days, it's only down about 4%. So that's not too bad. Considering the last year it's been down 75%.
And before we take a break, real quickly, are you invested in crypto?
I've got a small position, not too much. Half of what I had last year. Let's put it that way.
Let's come back and talk about a few other things that are going on. Apple and DoorDash with a new safety feature for delivery drivers. I think I have the answer, and you're going to tell me whether that's true or not. We'll be right back with Rich DeMuro. In the meantime, let's check in with Jennifer Jones-Lee live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
The capital of Ukraine's under attack as that nation's war against Russia pushes on. The mayor of Kyiv said there's been an attack launched on the city. Former President Trump's expected to launch his 2024 presidential campaign tonight from Florida, and postal inspectors in Washington, D.C. are joining the investigation into completed ballots in Northern California found down a ravine in the Santa Cruz Mountains. SoCal weather from KFI. Sunny today, mid-60s for the temperatures. Very windy starting tonight, and those gusty Santa Anas should last off and on through Friday. This report is brought to you by El Monte RVs. From the Southern California Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, let's go places and update the 710.
You betcha. Yeah, we're over the 71091 intersection in North Long Beach. I'm sure you've seen that emoji with the guy slapping his forehead. That's me. Gosh, I discovered the problem here. Listen up.
North and South 710 transitions to the East 91 is shut down. That's what all that southbound zone I was trying to warn you about. North and South 710 to East 91 shut down. Now, especially on the southbound side of the 710, people are being diverted to West 91 that are trying to get off of Long Beach Boulevard. So it's a mess around here. Getting off before or after that transition to go over Cherry, any of those on ramps will get you over to the East 91. So long time delays. Again, I'll repeat this. North and South 710 transition to the East 91. It's shut down for a while. They're repaving some. Jeff Bond, AM Eye in the Sky.
Tired of the BS? We spent $500,000 on this. Result, $8 million for leg injured motorcyclists. This report is sponsored by the California DMV. Did you know that many DMV tasks, like renewing your registration or changing your address, can be done online when it's convenient for you? Check them off your to-do list without a trip to the DMV. Get started today at dmv.ca.gov/online.
I guess that's why they call it the Blues, because Elton John is returning to the home of the boys in blue for a repeat of his legendary performance at Dodger Stadium in LA with a live streaming event on Disney Plus. Sunday, November 20th, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. You can experience it live from the front row on Disney Plus. Their Elton's final tour in North America will pull out all the stops with all the hits and a guest list full of A-listers. Elton John Live, Farewell from Dodger Stadium, a global live streaming event, Sunday, November 20th, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, only on Disney Plus.
Running out of hot water? Might be time for a new water heater. Visit waterheatersonly.com. Quick 5-star rated service. Friendly local technicians, low prices, and 0% deferred interest financing. Visit waterheatersonly.com. Terms and conditions apply. Seriously, Myers dealership just fixed the transmission.
We all know how easy it can be to go to the wrong place for transmission repair. Made up of over 800 pieces, the transmission is the most complex part of your car. So bring it to the transmission experts at AMCO. AMCO, always the right fix. AA, MCO. Special financing available. Restrictions, limitations, and exclusions may apply. See AMCO.com for complete details.
Contractor license 1047-781. Y'all need a guard dog for your plumbing. Zach, are you talking about Stacy's Guard Dog Protection? Yep, and it's available exclusively from the Zach list for just $14.95 a month. Sing your song, Zach Master. When your home has Stacy's Guard Dog Protection, Ghetto will send out a plumber with a 30-foot drain cable to open your sound drain at no charge. You save $80. And that's the Ghetto price. Ghetto Air Conditioning and Plumbing. GOETTL.com. We do things the right way, not the easy way.
I feel uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, worried, or frustrated. CalHome can help. Access CalHome's free and secure mental health resources. Call 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhome.org.
The old system was really efficient. Voting in person. This system is absurdly inefficient. They believe, though, that voting by mail adds a lot more voters to the mix because they're just too lazy to go to a vote. Why is it so difficult to go to a polling place for 5 minutes? John and Ken, other states don't have this kind of system for a reason. We did it too on KMI. AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Bill Handel here. And before we get back to Tech Tuesday with Rich DeMuro, I want to now announce the giveaway. Holidays are here. Disneyland Resort, KFI, wants to send you to experience the joy of Disney for the holiday. The castle is when you get the castle covered in festive lights. Festival, the Disney Festival holidays, a live Viva Navidad street party through January 8th. And park tickets and park reservations are required. Go to Disneyland.com for details. The offerings are subject to capacity restrictions, change without notice. Caller number 6 wins a 4-pack. And you get to go to the Disneyland Resort. 800-520-1534. 800-520-1534. See if you win 4-pack. And if you've ever been to Disneyland, that's no small deal, to say the least. All right, back we go to Rich DeMuro, our tech reporter. His Instagram at Rich on Tech. All right, Rich, one of the stories we're going to cover is DoorDash has a new safety feature for delivery drivers
And if I were making the decision, yes, that gets real easy. Just put an armed guard in every car and then just shoot whoever hassles the driver. What do you think?
Yeah, it seems reasonable.
There you go.
I mean, it would probably make deliveries a little bit more expensive.
And safer for the driver. So what are they doing other than just using technology and videoing and recording everything?
So it's funny because they say that about 99.99% of deliveries are totally fine. Everything goes okay, but clearly there are instances where things happen. So a couple of new things they're doing. Number one, a check-in. It's called Safe Dash. So if the AI detects that a delivery is taking longer than expected, we're not talking, you're waiting for your pizza and you're just, wanting it faster. We're talking there could be something going wrong, right, with the driver. And so the system will automatically call the driver. They're actually partnering with ADT to do a safety check and say, hey, are you okay? Can we get you 911? Is everything okay? So they're going to start that in New York City and Washington, D.C., and then roll it out across the U.S. Then there's a thing called safety alerts. So they're partnering with another company to basically send drivers alerts if there's any sort of active delivery in an area where there's a major issue. And we're talking, they reference active shootings, bomb threats, building fires. I mean, it's pretty sad that we, this platform has to think about active shootings and bomb threats in their deliveries. But, it's the reality of the world we live in. And so they don't want a driver driving into a scene that, maybe a school where there's a shooting or, something that we just saw. And, they're trying to deliver the lunch to this person and, the whole place is closed down.
What are the safety factors right now? What do they do for driver safety and I'm assuming passenger safety too?
Well, DoorDash doesn't have passengers, but I know that
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm assuming the same technology is going to go maybe not to the
Ubers and Lyft of the world. Yeah, absolutely. No, they're all putting a lot of emphasis on security because we've seen so many incidents in the news, and yeah, Uber's doing a lot of stuff as well. In fact, there's this thing that I got the other day where it asked me if everything was okay because my trip was taking longer than expected, and so I had a little pop-up on my phone that said, "Hey, is everything okay? Because we thought that you were supposed to get dropped off here, but you're getting dropped off over here." And I think we had made like a stop or something extra, and that's why it happened. But again, a lot of these tech companies are using their AIs and things they've learned, the patterns they've learned over the years to make things safer. The other thing I thought was interesting with DoorDash is that they are doing something very simple, but they're sending porch-light reminders to people. So before you get your delivery, they're saying, hey, would you mind turning on the lights outside your house?
That's a clever idea. It never occurred to me. Someone's got a race for that one. Hey, do they use a GPS in terms of following drivers? For example, if someone, clearly the driver is going from A to B and clearly it's on the phone. If he veers off, does it tell the delivery service that we have a veering off and GPS says exactly where they are?
Oh, absolutely. These apps, I haven't read these specific privacy policies, but I would imagine, and I know from some of the features that I've heard over the years, that these apps, they're not just recording where the person's going, but if you're running something like the Uber app, you can imagine like a ride-sharing app. You have to imagine that ride-sharing app is collecting not only how fast that car is going, but also how it's driving. I mean, there's so many sensors in the iPhone that I've always said this. Uber can easily tell if a driver is holding the phone in their hand because if the sensors are picking up different different messages than they are if it's being held in sort of a dashboard mount, right? Because the phone is being jostled around, and so with that they can give that driver a lower safety score and they can give them less drives. Now, I'm not saying all this stuff is happening now, but there are definitely indications over the years that we've seen from companies like Lyft and Uber that they do take a lot of things into consideration, more so than you might think.
Does DoorDash know the topping of the pizza that I ordered?
Yes, they do. In fact, Bill, this is a funny story last night. So I ordered a couple pizzas. I'm outside, and the guy pulls up, to deliver the pizza. Now, I don't know if you've gotten delivery throughout the pandemic, but nowadays they basically bring in one.
Right.
They leave it on your doorstep, and then they get out of there before you can even answer the door. And so, thankfully, last night I happened to be outside playing basketball when the delivery driver showed up because I said, hey, those pizzas don't look I love their pan pizza, and I'm the only person I know that liked their old formula, but it tasted like cardboard with bad tomato sauce on it. I really was very upset when they changed that. But the good news is you can call them and say, hey, you screwed up the order, and now I want some free pizza, and they'll deliver it. One last one before we go. The virtual clinic on Amazon, and that's prescription for allergies, hair loss. So is it for anything beyond sort of basic medicine, antibiotics, or specified medicine?
I think what they're doing here is, I don't know if you've ever watched sports lately, but you see all those ads um, that they have for like all these online prescription clinics that you can get drugs from. They say 20 common health conditions. So allergies, acne, hair loss, but if you dig a little bit further, they're doing a lot more than that. They're doing like a lot of prescription medication. And so I think that what they're doing is they're trying to, they're doing telehealth. And so they're just seeing, what do people need medication for, right? And that's what they're competing with.
Yeah, as funny as it seems, you would think on sports programs it would be ED medication.
That was what they mentioned, actually.
With well, I personally like the disclaimers. A erection that lasts for more than 4 hours, and uncontrolled erection, and oily stools. Those are my two absolute favorite side effects.
Yeah, well, the third, probably doesn't go well with the other two.
Yeah, probably not. Now, is these virtual clinics? I mean, you already have it on telemedicine. Your doctor will do it. I mean, they can't prescribe the opiates, but short of that, they can prescribe everything else. So, what's the difference between telemedicine and Amazon? Is it simply the reach? Is it simply the mark? That's it, huh?
I think it's the reach. I think it's the fact that, they bought this one medical clinic. So Amazon's really making a push into healthcare. I'm not sure if they're going to make a big dent because healthcare historically has been very challenging for newcomers to get onto the scene and to make any significant difference. We've seen a lot of these medical clinics pop open, these like national chains, and they have some impact, but these big companies really control a lot of it. I think when it comes to the online stuff with the prescriptions and the online meds and the telehealth, we've seen a lot of that going on. But some people may take issue with that. It's easier to get drugs these days from these online clinics, but is that necessarily a good thing for everyone? When sometimes there's more going on than meets the eye. And a lot of these drugs, sometimes are things people aren't comfortable talking to their primary physician about, and so they do seek these other clinics. And I think with Amazon specifically, the privacy concern, like people may not want Amazon to have all of their ED med mixed in with their, cereal that they're getting delivered.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, I'll talk about my issues all day long. So there's medication out there that I'm getting that is both for baldness and girth. And yeah, it's pretty impressive.
That's a 2-in-1.
That certainly is. Rich, always a pleasure. The Instagram address is @Rich on Tech. And we'll talk again next Tuesday. Have a good one, Rich.
Thanks.
All right, coming up, Handle on the news late edition. Let's check in with Jennifer Jones-Lee live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
A judge has delayed approving the settlement of a lawsuit over the homeless crisis in LA. A federal judge says he wants to wait to see who becomes the next mayor of LA. The judge yesterday indicated that the city and the county can do better in figuring out how to bring increased housing, outreach, and supportive services to the thousands of people living on the streets. The LA Alliance for Human Rights filed a lawsuit in 2020 accusing the city and county of not doing enough to address the homeless problem. A court hearing is expected in January once the election results are finalized. Deborah Marks, KFI News. NASA JPL says it plans to launch a satellite December 5th to measure every body of water on the planet. Mission scientist Nadia Schiffer says the surface water and ocean topography mission known as SWOT will observe the fine details of the ocean surface topography and measure how water bodies can change over time.
Essentially, SWOT will give us this missing connection between the water sources and water sinks, between the water movement and water storage, between water supply and water demand, between ocean and land.
The mission is a partnership between the U.S. and space agencies from Canada, France, and the UK. Schiffer says they hope to learn how to predict and react to drought and climate change. Warner says the leadership of the former El Monte police chief helped the community heal after the fatal shooting of 2 officers.
It is with great sadness that we mourn the loss of our brother, Chief Ted Lowry.
Lowry was appointed chief this past summer, shortly after the officers were killed
killed.
Most were unaware that had just received news of what would amount to a terminal diagnosis of his cancer.
Sam Lowry said yesterday his brother didn't allow an announcement when he became chief, nor did he want people to know about the cancer.
He would not allow even the slightest bit of attention to be taken from his fallen officers.
Lowry was 45. He survived by a wife and 4 children.
End of March, October 24th, 2022.
Corbin Carson, KFI News.
Democrat Katie Hobbs has been projected the winner in the race for governor of Arizona. The contest with Republican Carrie Lake was close. Officials say the results took a while because a record number of early ballots were dropped off on Election Day in Maricopa County. And looks like rats are born this way too.
Researchers at the University of Tokyo say they played Lady Gaga songs for rats and people alike. Studies suggest rats can recognize and move to the rhythm of a beat. Like humans who participated in the study, the rats bobbed their heads to music between 120 and 140 beats a minute and did it on their own, haven't been trained to do it. Researchers also played Mozart, Michael Jackson's Beat It, Queen's Another One Bites the Dust, and Maroon 5's Sugar for the rats. Amy King, KFI News.
We'll get a look at your drive on the 5 after sports with Wayne.
Paul George was the scoring leader for the Clippers with 22 points as LA beat the Houston Rockets 122-106. They play the Mavericks in Dallas at 5:30 today, and that game is live on AM 570 LA Sports. In hockey, the LA Kings lost to the Calgary Flames 6-5. The Ducks get the Detroit Red Wings tonight at 7. And former Dodger Yasiel Puig has reached the deal to plead guilty to making a false statement for lying to federal authorities during an investigation of a sports gambling ring. I'm Wayne Resnick, AFI Sports.
You know, I've been a small business person virtually my entire life. And over the years, on several occasions, I got nailed on HR issues. And like most small to medium-sized business owners, I couldn't afford an HR person. You certainly can if you're a small business person. Well, here's the answer, Bambi.com. It is an answer, it's a good one. With Bambi, you get an HR person starting at only $99 a month. Now, if that sounds too good to be true, I thought so too. This is for real. Bambi helps you deal with your HR problems like writing HR policies, sexual harassment training, hostile work environment, terminations. That's where I got nailed. People complaining about other employees, all of them putting you and your business at risk. With Bambi, you get access to your own dedicated HR manager, available by phone, email, real-time chat. Go to Bambi.com, type in KFI into the radio drop-down when you sign up. I get the credit, thank you. BAMBEE, spelled BAM, BEE, Bambi.com.
SoCal weather from KFI. Mostly sunny today with highs in the upper 60s, but we've got a Santa Ana wind event, possibly the strongest we've had this season or even the year, starting tonight, roughly 8-ish, and that's when we've got a wind warning in effect as well. Those gusty winds look like they will last off and on through Friday, and temperatures will warm as the week goes on. Highs will be in the 70s. Let's get a look at your drive with BKFI in the sky. Now we've got a crash on the 5.
Well, here we have her. Good morning to you. Now, wherever you're going, really, we've got a lot of volume on all our freeways, but we're over a bad crash right now. If you have to drive the North 5 or the North 170 up towards the 118, right in the middle, it's the North 5 and Osborne. We've got a whole bunch of lanes blocked. City fires down there with a whole bunch of people in cars and trucks. Looks like the carpool lane is open and maybe a right and a collector lane open. The bottom line is northbound 170, that stops it well before Roscoe Boulevard, coming away from the Sherman Way, and the North 5 is now backing up severely through Lancashire. So 2 freeways are backed up. Now, using any surface street, if you can, if you have that option now, Laurel, San Fernando Road, Glen Oaks, any of those, if you can get on or back on, in this case, the North 5 at Osborne, you'll be north of the problem zone your way. Again, we got a lot of lanes blocked here and a lot of activity. Even southbound, there's always volume coming down from the 118. It's much slower with all lanes open, but people looking across the freeway. The other big problem I want to warn you about is North Long Beach, North and South 710 transition to the East 91. That's what's shut down, and everybody's going to the West 91. It's really a circus down there, so give yourself plenty of time, and please do be careful. More on all this coming up. Jeff Blunt on AFI in the skies.
Attention I-10 freeway drivers. Freeway and ramp closures are coming up for the I-10 Express Lanes project. Don't get stuck. For dates and detours, visit GoSBCTA.com. That's GoSBCTA.com for more information on the I-10 Express Lanes project. It's time to celebrate the holidays and each other safely. No matter what's going on out there, and here your loved ones are protected. Choose to call their home to keep all surfaces clean, sanitized, and safe this holiday season. From your carpet to your air ducts to your upholstery and more. We'll help keep your home healthy for the holidays. Call 800 click today and save 35%.
By now, you've heard the news. Vaccine boosters are available for eligible Californians. Boosters support stronger immunity and help maximize protection against COVID-19 and its variants. Visit myturn.ca.gov to find out if you're eligible and to find a booster near you. That's myturn.ca.gov. Stay healthy and strong. Get boosted. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Hey, Cowboy here. Let's talk about water and money, because both are pretty scarce right now. So what do you spend on bottled water every month? Like $50 a month? How about this? For nothing down and only $45 a month, you can own a Keurig water, whole house water filtration, conditioning, and descaling system. It comes with a free 6-stage alkaline water system and free installation. And if that wasn't enough, you're also going to get free annual testing, unlimited service calls, and lifetime servicing. Get pure water from your tap with no chemicals and nothing down for just $45 a month. That's only 7 lattes. You can do that, right? Oh, and did I mention you own the system? Go online and look up Keurig water. Their 5-star reviews are everywhere. Ding dong with this fresh water. I've had Keurig for about a year now, and I love that my family's safe from harmful chemicals. Pretty cool, right? So dump the bottles, call 844-80-WATER, 844-80-WATER, or the website PURagainwater.com. PURagainwater.com. That's PuragainWater.com.
Warning, your heater may be unsafe. Don't turn on your heater again without calling Next Gen HVAC and Plumbing for a safety inspection and tune-up. Only $68 for a limited time. Only $68 for safety and peace of mind.
Termite problems? Search PacificCoastTermite.com or call 800-PACIFIC.
We're putting the media back in social media. Follow us now everywhere at KFIAM 640.
Talk radio. We're all experts, right? We're brilliant. Just ask me a question. I'll tell you the answer instantly. Handle on the news. Oh, late edition. Now, Bill Handle. Good morning, Bill Handle here. Tuesday morning, November 15th, as we enter the next segment of our show. First of all, it's Handle on the News late edition, and second of all, it's Handle on the News late edition. Damn, I'm good. Brought to you by DirectBuyers.com, the hassle-free way to sell your home at a fair price in 10 days or fewer. Visit DirectBuyers.com. Jennifer, Wayne, me, late edition, late sorry. Well, we're looking at Santa Ana's blowing through Southern California. And when Santa Ana's happened, it's an increased fire danger both today and tomorrow. Arriving tonight. And let me see, humidity 8 to 15.
Gusts of 40 to 60 miles an hour?
Yeah, it's pretty.
I mean, I know the people in Florida right now are laughing about that because they would love to have wind that's only 60 miles an hour, but still, those are some powerful gusts.
We got a wind warning that starts at 8 o'clock tonight, goes until at least 10, but even more than this, I've seen sort of the extended forecast. Looks like we could have gusty winds off and on through Friday.
That sounds like fun.
Oh, yeah. Russia has launched airstrikes across Ukraine. We started seeing a couple of apartment buildings that got hit in Kyiv this morning. And the Ukrainian foreign minister said in a tweet that the strike should put an end to pressure for peace talks with Russia.
And I know where they're going with peace talks. I mean, all Ukraine wants is all this territory return, including Crimea. The Russians back to behind their borders, the old borders for Crimea. And let's talk about war crimes for every one of those soldiers that committed those crimes in Ukraine. Yeah, that's going to happen in this lifetime.
But the horrible part is the airstrikes keep on being launched, and even if Ukrainians are able to bring the Russians to the border and put the Russian forces behind their own border, I don't think the attacks are going to stop. You're going to see the cruise missiles, you're going to see the constant barrage. And certainly the area that they're calling Russian territory, Donetsk, Luhansk, the Donbass, is going to be decimated. It already is, but it's going to be Hiroshima by the time this is said and done. Well, President Biden's student loan forgiveness plan is now on indefinite hold. The panel with the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals issued a preliminary injunction. So then now it can't be activated until after all the court stops. If it's upheld, only then will it be reactivated. And the entire issue is, does the president have the authority? I mean, that's the issue. Can he do it? Can he not do it? We'll find out how that works. And I'm going to talk more about this coming up at 9 o'clock. And then I'm going to say something about it that's fairly controversial. And the way other countries do it. And they assume there are dumb people in this world, and we don't in the United States. We have no dumb people. I will explain that at 9. Yeah, I know. Whoa! Yeah, I'll explain that at 9.
All right, it was November 2nd that we talked about CVS, Walgreens, each saying they would pay about $5 billion to settle opioid nationwide lawsuits. Now Walmart is the latest to join the same trend. It has reached a $3.1 billion opioid nationwide settlement.
How much is that total so far? You've got Purdue has $12 billion. You've got the Sackler family, I think it's $3 billion individually. You have distributors, McKesson, which is the big distributor in the country. I don't remember how many billion. I mean, this has to be $50, $60 billion so far.
Yeah, it's over 50 billion.
Pardon?
It's over 50 billion.
Yeah,
Not quite 60 yet.
but that has to go to everybody. The states, individuals, states, counties, cities, and people. Yeah, and considering what, 100,000 people a year die of the opioid overdoses. I figured that one out over the last 10 years.
Well, the Department of Transportation has announced that since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, airlines have had to pay out over $600 million in refunds to people for flights that were canceled or changed. Okay. Some airlines apparently haven't been following the rules, though, and they are getting fined. $7.25 million in fines against 6 airlines for extreme delays in giving those required refunds to passengers. There's only one U.S. airline on that list, and it's, take a guess, Frontier.
Yeah, no one would have guessed that one, huh?
And then I'm a little surprised at one of these. Air India, TAP Portugal, Aero Mexico, LO. Israel's airline is on this short list of airlines that took too long to give people refunds when they canceled their flights.
Quick story. I told you about my very dear friend who was a pilot. He was a pilot with the Israeli Defense Forces. He flew F-16 for 20 years. And then he went to El Al and became a pilot with El Al. And I told him, your last day that you're flying, last day on El Al as a pilot, you have to say, ladies and gentlemen, we're flying at 35,000 feet today, but for you, 32,000.
Did he do it?
No. No. Bastard. Take a break. We'll come back and finish up handle on the news. Late edition, Jennifer Jones-Lee, live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
This is day 2 of a college strike across California. About 48,000 UC workers, from researchers to teaching assistants, are picketing for higher pay at 10 campuses. The White House is issuing a proclamation for America Recycles Day. The Biden administration is promoting the benefits of recycling today for health and the environment. And a woman facing charges after authorities allegedly found a huge amount of cocaine hidden in the wheelchair at JFK Airport that she was riding in. Apparently, the cocaine had been stuck in the wheels of the wheelchair, and the wheelchair wouldn't roll. SoCal weather from KFI. It's a sunny day ahead. Temperatures will be in the mid 60s, and we've got gusty winds kicking in tonight. Roughly 8 o'clock, that's when we have a wind warning and gusty winds through the week. This report is brought to you by the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority. From the Southern California Toyota Dealer Traffic Center, let's go places. This time, Jeff's taking a look at the 5 employment.
That's a see an episode of Dumb Criminals coming up on that story you did just there. I have some wonderful news now. If you listen last time around here, this North 5, a little bit before Osborne, coming through Pacoima, cleared very quickly. I must give tip of the hat to City Fire and CHP and everybody. But most of the freeway was shut down. Again, this is North 5 before Osborne, which is just north of the 170 and the 5 birds, so you know it's coming. No one's all lanes open. The 5 really slow coming up from Lancashire and the 170 from a little bit north of Sherman Way, but it should get back up to speed very quickly. And miles away to the south, north of El Toro Road, another big problem there with a couple of lanes blocked. This is coming up through this Dale towards Lake Forest, so a long time delay. We'll follow flow. Be careful. Jeff Roth, KFI in the sky.
Attention I-10 freeway drivers. Freeway and ramp closures are coming up for the I-10 Express Lanes project. Don't get stuck. For dates and detours, visit GoSBCTA.com. That's GoSBCTA.com for more information on the I-10 Express Lanes project. This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Temperatures getting low, but demand remaining high? You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Hey, it's Gene Sharp. Every home in America, including yours, is going full electric faster than any of us ever imagined. You need to be ready by going solar with a complete solar solution from Sunlux. Solar that cancels your power bill, a Tesla Powerwall battery, and electric vehicle ready from the only company I have trusted to put solar on my own home, Sunlux. Sunlux is your source for complete solar solutions. Get yours today at sunlux.com. Sunlux.com. CSLB 10037.
Contractor license 1047-781. Hey, I've got just one thing to say. Tell it, we do it all. What do you mean by all? We can fix your water leaks, dripping faucets, running toilets, add a water supply for any faucet, replace your garbage disposal, unclog your drain, and we can repair your underground sewer lines arthroscopic. You fix underground sewer lines without digging? Yep, Kenny, we do. Like I said, we do it all. Kettle, air conditioning, and plumbing. GOECTL.com. We do things the right way, not the easy way. You. Y-O-U. 3 little letters to make a very small word.
That means so many things. Because no you is ever one single thing.
You.
If put at the start starts to change everything. To begin a sentence and begin it with you. Kind of makes you wonder how big you come about when you come first.
Quality healthcare with award-winning service for every you. Blue Shield, California.
Our electric bills are pretty high.
I'm concerned about the addition of our infrastructure.
Recently in California, with the fires, they said that they're going to shut off the power and it could be shut off for longer periods than usual.
I looked at our electric bills and they keep going up and up and up.
We had to find a solution to our energy bill.
Your home is an ecosystem. Solar power, battery storage, and efficient air conditioning all work together to ensure your house is comfortable, protected, and self-sustaining. Save today and prepare for tomorrow with Semper 360, the all-in-one home energy solution.
The savings are better than what I expected. I said, I want the 18. This was the 18.
From the beginning to the end, it has been the best.
Declare your energy independence with Semper Solaris, your local and veteran-owned solar, battery, and air contractor. Take advantage of the 30% federal solar tax credit. 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 12 months. For all offers, call 877-211-5591 or visit SemperSolaris.com. Expires November 30th, 2022. CSLB 978-152. By now, you've heard the news. Vaccine boosters are available for eligible Californians. Boosters support stronger immunity and help maximize protection against COVID-19 and its variants. Visit myturn.ca.gov to find out if you're eligible and to find a booster near you. That's myturn.ca.gov. Stay healthy and strong. Get boosted. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Survivors of clergy child sexual abuse in California have limited time to seek justice. Survivors have until December 31st, 2022 to take legal action. Contact Jeff Anderson and Associates for a confidential conversation. Call us at 1-800-ITS-TIME, 120 San Vicente Boulevard, Suite 700.
discovery runs deep. Enriching adventures await in North America's mighty rivers, Great Lakes, oceans, and expeditions to the wilds of Alaska. Visit American Queen Voyages at aqvoyages.com, cruising North America now. Call 844-744-0794 or contact your travel professional. American Queen Voyages, discovering runs deep. Join us on Thanksgiving Eve for our iHeartRadio Holiday Special 2022, starring John Legend, Alicia Keys, Backstreet Boys, Meghan Trainor, and Dan and Shay. November 23rd, starting at 7 p.m. on the free iHeartRadio app.
Don't let COVID get in the way of your holiday cheer this year. Updated vaccines are now available for everyone 5 and up. Learn more at vaccines.gov and have a happy and safe holiday season. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
I was offered a ride for their helicopter. My brother wanted to come. He had about $30 worth of Denny's food. Got caught circling. A lot of G-force. That bag was full when he came back.
Did he really? He lost his moves over Miami?
Moons over Miami. The Tim Conley Jr. Show. Yeah. Weeknights at 6. Good night on KMI. KMI, AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Bill Handel here with the morning crew. Let's finish Handel on the News Late Edition. Jennifer Jones-Lee, Wayne Mead.
Tomorrow, NASA is hoping that it can finally have liftoff of its new moon rocket Artemis after determining that the hurricane damage did not have that big of a risk to the test flight. So they say that they're comfortable with it flying as it is, but because of the hurricane, they've had all kinds of delays and issues with it, and so now they think that tomorrow will be the day they'll finally get it off the ground.
It's the super heavy rocket. It's not made by Musk either. You think it's Falcon X. It's not. It's Northrop Grumman who makes it. And Northrop Grumman's been around forever. And then the story, and I love this story, 'cause I love space stuff. The New Zealanders launched a NASA satellite, and it's a microwave oven size, story goes. That's kind of neat, isn't it? So it's going to circle the moon, and you can cook your food in it too. It just it does a lot.
It's super.
Yeah.
Well, the judge overseeing this never-ending lawsuit between the LA Alliance for Human Rights and LA County about the homeless says he's still going to delay his decision on the proposed settlement because he wants to wait to see who wins the LA mayor race and then make them come in and talk to them about it.
It's David Carter.
David, oh, what a pain in the butt, Carter.
He's been involved in homelessness for years and years. He's the guy, even at the point where there's homeless encampment. Remember the Santa Ana River? Or was it the LA River? I think it was Santa Ana River. He actually walked up and down the river looking at homeless encampments. I mean,
He's very, listen, to his credit, he is very hands-on. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty. He's not afraid to work. He often works very long hours. The downside, he's a massive pain in the keister to work with.
but you've worked with him.
Yeah.
University. Visit gcu.edu.
Thank goodness I'm no longer touchable for my constitutionally protected opinion about a guy. So anyway, he doesn't want to let it go. He just will not let it go. So Karen Bass probably is going to win. Karen Bass is going to have to go in there and do what? Convince him that
The city's
he's
doing
on
it.
board in the right kind of way so that he'll approve a settlement that has nothing to do with it.
Has he ever approved the settlement yet?
I don't know. There's the city. The problem here is he allowed it to get really complicated too, because the county is a party and the city is a party, and then they were arguing about we shouldn't be tied into each other. Like the county was saying,
Right.
we shouldn't have to deal with the city's mishigas over here. So who knows what's going on? And who knows? You know what? We'll all be long retired before this guy ever is, and this case is ever put to bed.
If you are driving to Redding on I-5, which I do far too often, you're going to go through little towns like Corning and Red Bluff. That's Tehama County. In Tehama County, there is such a, as they put it, catastrophic staffing shortage of the sheriff's department in Tehama County that they don't have enough deputies to have daytime patrols So they are suspending daytime patrols, and the CHP instead will respond to life-threatening emergencies during the daytime hours.
Good time to speed and blow through stop signs.
Like that's stunning. But still, they say it's difficulties with recruitment and retention of employees in that area, which has been directly linked to pay disparities. And this all started, even the city, the little city of Red Bluff that you drive through, it already had this issue. It was relying on the sheriff's department to take care of patrols within the city, and now the entire county is having to ask the CHP for help because a lot of the deputies that are there are now staffing the jails and that kind of thing.
Now the county said, this is a fight between the sheriff and the county. What does that sound like? He's saying you're starving us of resources, and they're saying, what are you talking about? We put into place big pay increases for you, so we don't know what your problem is. Fast food workers will be staging a protest today all over LA and Orange counties. They are mad at companies like McDonald's and Starbucks and other restaurant chains over Assembly Bill 257. That is that law that was signed, and it takes effect January 1st. That creates that 10-person state-run council to negotiate wages and working conditions for the fast food workers. And the fast food workers are upset because these companies now are pursuing putting a referendum on the ballot for 2024 that would undo it.
Yeah, how much money do you think they have, the fast food industry? You're going to see insane amounts of money. And of course, the workers are saying, don't take away our big vote.
Oh,
Wow. Okay, let's just move on.
Well, monkey labor is being called into question when it comes to HelloFresh. HelloFresh uses coconut milk that is allegedly obtained by monkey labor in Thailand. PETA says it wants the company boycotted because it says the monkeys are chained, whipped, beaten, and forced to spend long hours picking coconut. And then it's the milk from those coconuts that the monkeys are forced to pick that HelloFresh allegedly uses in its different recipes.
Now, PETA can really go out here. It really can. But if this is true, this is heartbreaking. I mean, this really is heartbreaking.
Monkey labor.
Yeah,
I've never even heard of that.
I can see it. I haven't either, but you can see it. Chained up and picking, they can obviously be trained to do that. Man, if this is absolutely true, if it is. You want to do one more?
The Grammy nominations will be coming out today. In fact, they're going to start announcing them in just a few minutes, and there's 5 new categories. Because those shows are not long enough.
Right.
So now there's a Songwriter of the Year award, and that will be someone, not for one song, somebody who was the most prolific, non-performing, non-producing, songwriting-only person. They'll get an award plus spoken word poetry album. Oh, your album. Hey, do you think I'm a schmuck? Remember that album you made of your poems? That could be nominated.
Yes.
Alternative music performance, Americana music performance, and score or soundtrack for video games and other interactive media.
All right.
Those are the new categories.
Let's break. Coming up, the federal student loan debt relief. Boy, what's going on with that? It's a big one. This is KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
We're not here to make up your mind. We're here to give you the latest.
KFI.
And the KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
I'm Jennifer Jones Lee, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Yes, that was my attempt at winning. Parts of LA County will be under a high fire danger red flag warning tomorrow. Forecasters say it will be the first strong Santa Ana event of the season. The warnings will also be in effect for the Santa Clarita and San Fernando valleys, the Malibu coast, and the Santa Ana mountains. News is brought to you by WDC Kitchen and Bath Center. A woman, the ex-husband of a woman from Simi Valley, has been arrested in connection with their disappearance and murder.
Simi Valley police say the case escalated after they got a 911 call from a woman named Emily Castillo last Thursday.
She arrived home at her Wood Ranch area apartment and found evidence indicating a struggle had occurred. Her sister, Rachel Castillo, 25 years old, who resides with Emily, was missing.
Commander Craig Duncan says Rachel's body was found Sunday in the Antelope Valley, and a short time later, investigators arrested her ex, Zarbad Ali, who was at his parents' home in Victorville. Duncan says there's no apparent motive for the murdered mother of two. Ali's in jail on $510,000 bail. Steve Gregory, TFI News.
Comedian Jay Leno is recovering after his face and hands were burned in a gasoline fire. The Grossman Burn Center in West Hills says Leno is in stable condition. The Burbank Police Department says the fire happened Sunday inside Leno's garage in Burbank, where he stores a large number of vintage cars and sports cars. It's not known how the fire started. Leno tweeted yesterday he needs a week or two to get on his feet. Leno has canceled local appearances and at least one in Las Vegas. Two French bulldogs have been swiped on the 6th Street Bridge in LA. A man got out of an SUV and robbed the dog's owners at gunpoint Friday. Owner of rare French bulldogs in Riverside, Michelle Krebs, says the dogs are a hot target for thieves because they're expensive and easy to sell. She says she beefed up security around her home.
You know when you're dealing with, that level of dogs that people do want them bad enough to come in and rob your house and take a whole litter. Like I know someone in Florida, their whole litter was taken.
Krebs says the dogs are a hot target for thieves because they are expensive. A woman's been shot in a historic hotel in downtown LA. The shooting happened just before 11 last night. Investigators say the woman was shot and killed on the 14th floor of the Hayward Hotel, but her body somehow ended up in the lobby. The man who shot her took off. Investigators say he knew the woman. LA is adding new areas for a program that diverts nonviolent 911 calls related to the homeless away from police.
The Circle program is expanding to both the San Fernando Valley at the end of the month and South LA early next year. Mayor Garcetti says the program sends unarmed teams of trained professionals to a variety of 911 calls.
If there's an individual who's under the influence of alcohol or narcotics, they can roll out to them. The person is inadequately clothed. We've seen naked people in the streets.
The program was initially rolled out in Hollywood and Venice last year. It recently completed its expansion into downtown LA. In LA, Blake Trolley, KFI News.
Republicans have won 2 seats in Southern California in the midterm elections. Michelle Steele defeated Jay Chen to represent the 45th Congressional District in LA and Orange County. Ken Calvert was reelected in Riverside County. He beat Democrat Will Rollins in a district that became much more competitive this year after redistricting. Amazon has plans to lay off about 10,000 employees. Ekin Yashin is a tech professor at University of Washington in Seattle and says many tech companies have to rethink their relationship with customers.
A lot of tech companies really has grown exponentially in ways they couldn't have predicted because of the pandemic.
The cuts would be the largest in Amazon's history. And the Transportation Department says it fined international airlines nearly $500 million to refund passengers whose flights were either canceled or delayed. ABC's Trevor Alt says one of the airlines asked to pay up was based in the U.S.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says they have been flooded with complaints by passengers about this since the pandemic started, and they're going to hold these airlines accountable.
Buttigieg says many of the refunds have been issued. People can file a complaint to the Transportation Department to potentially get their money back. It recently ordered Frontier Airlines to pay $222 million to refund customers on top of a $2.2 million fine. We'll get a look at your drive on the 710, but first it's Sports with Wayne.
The Clippers are still without Kawhi Leonard, but that didn't stop them from beating the Houston Rockets 122-106. Coach Ty Lue did have some concerns early in that game.
Yeah, we could have got some better shots, and we took some questionable shots early on. In the halftime, we just addressed it like we can get any shot we want to get.
The Clips move to the Dallas Mavericks at 5:30 today live on AM 570 LA Sports. The LA Kings lost to the Calgary Flames 6-5. The Ducks get the Detroit Red Wings at 7. I'm Wayne Resnick, KFI Sports.
Checking your KFI financial report, the Dow is up 189, S&P is up 52, NASDAQ is up 257, and the average price of a gallon of unleaded gas in California is $5.43. SoCal weather from KFI, mostly sunny today. Highs will be in the upper 60s. Our Santa Ana wind should start later this evening. 8 o'clock, we've got a wind warning that goes into effect. Lasts until at least 10 o'clock tonight, but it looks like we could have gusts of wind lasting all the way until Friday. Warmer temperatures as the week goes on with highs in the 70s and low humidity accompanies these winds, so that means we will have increased fire danger. Let's get a look at your drive, BKFI in the sky, and an update on the 710.
We got some continuing problems down the old center around the 710. It's actually making a transition, but it's north and south 710 transition to the East 91. It's been shut down since pre-dawn. Actually, they're doing some emergency road work there, so it's really created havoc on the 710 itself. You get on around Cherry or Atlantic or anything over towards the east, you'll be in much better shape. And then there's another problem that thankfully we've been spinning around this now. It's the West 91 at Cherry before the 710 had a crash in the two right lanes. It just cleared, and that only happened about 30 seconds ago. So if you're on the West 91 now around Carmenita, that's what this is all about. Again, the two right lanes were blocked, but all lanes are open now. Now the carpool lane is slightly better, no contest there. Eastbound drive, that's looking pretty good. And again, going up to the North San Fernando Valley, there was quite a problem. North 5 and Osborne, that cleared, but the North 170 and North 5 are kind of slow approaching. But Orange County or southern end of Orange County, there's still a problem existing. North 5 at El Toro, got a couple lanes blocked up there. Jesus, back up to the 74. That's kind of an expensive delay. If you get on, at El Toro Road, North 5 will be in much better shape. Jeff Boss, AFI in the sky.
This hour of the Bill Handel Show brought to you by Jacoby and Myers. If you get hurt in an accident, choose a law firm with the experience to win. Choose Jacoby and Myers.
Moments like seeing my son's team cheer him on mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib. Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor. It's the postmenopausal women or for men with HR positive, HER2 negative MBC. It's the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell count that may lead to serious infection. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
It's pro time because at Lowe's, it's November. Save big with inventory you can count on, like Flex products or DeWalt Power Tools starting at just $99. Plus, Lowe's MVPs members earn up to 3 times bonus points per dollar on select items. Save all November long. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts event. MVP's Pro Rewards Program terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty terms. Subject to change. Prices valid from 10/17/22 to 2/3/23 or until supplies last.
At Easygator, food for work is our thing. Maybe that's why we get orders from 93% of Fortune 500 companies. So what's up with the other 7%?
So sorry the food is late.
You should order through Easygator. Professionally delivered on time and as ordered.
Totally would, but the E is broken on my keyboard.
Just get IT to fix it.
Totally would. Can't type the word out.
Why don't all companies order through Easygator? Who knows? Order 24/7 from over 95,000 restaurants on Easygator.com. Easygator, food for work. It's our thing.
Prime Choice Solar. Get started with zero out-of-pocket expense to make the switch to solar. Visit PrimeChoiceSolar.com.
KFI.
More stimulating talk.
An iHeart radio station.
Today, part of Bill Handel will play by Bill Handel. I'm in his Handel show. What do you expect? And now, here's Bill Handel. KFI, AM 640. Bill Handel here on a Tuesday morning, November 15th. Some of the big stories we are covering here on KFI and actually all over Southern California. Karen Bass has now taken the lead and will continue to take the lead over Rick Caruso for the mayor's race here in the City of the Angels. She's up by more than 29,000 votes and increasing her lead. So I think it's fair to report that pretty well has it. And also Bob Luna is going to be the new sheriff. He is essentially trouncing Alex Villanueva. And so that is happening in LA County. Now, something happened with federal appeals court and President Biden's student loan forgiveness program. The federal appeals court blocked it. Just said no. Well, didn't say no forever, but said no temporarily, which crushes the hopes of more than 26 million Americans who applied for the relief, discouraging a bunch more millions who are eligible, and pretty well, a good chance killing the plan completely. The Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals granted this injunction, halting the forgiveness plan, and it was brought by 6 Republican-led states that argued Biden exceeded his authority when he cited COVID as the national emergency and the reason to cancel student loans for millions, 40-something million people. The states said that they would lose. Well, here it is. One of the courts said the states don't have standing, but the states, according to the court, do have standing because the forgiveness goes through a state program, and the states were able to prove that they lose money because of the forgiveness program. The court bought it, and it's the second decision by a federal court. There was another case in which the U.S. District Court blocked the program. That was last Thursday. Now, can the program be revived? Sure. Is it going to be? I don't know. The lower court ruled that the 6 plaintiff states, Arkansas, Iowa, what a shock, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, South Carolina, failed to establish standing. The appellate court said, oh, they have the standing. And in a completely non-political response, the White House press secretary said the administration is confident in our legal authority and will continue to fight these baseless lawsuits by Republican officials and special interests, and will never stop fighting to support working and middle-class families, Americans. So, God, I love that sort of stuff. All right, so there's a temporary halt now until probably the Supreme Court makes a final decision. We don't know where they're going to go. And this has to do with the authority of the president to enact the loan forgiveness program. But I want to say something about the amount of money that people borrow and how expensive it is and how many people go to college. We are one of the very few countries in the world that have a philosophy that everybody should go to college. Everybody. You want to go to college, you should go to college no matter how, frankly, no matter how smart you are, no matter your aptitude for college, you have the ability to go to college. Most countries don't do that. My partner Karen, for example, she went to college in South Africa, one of the premier colleges. Right? It was free. She actually got a stipend. She had to test to it. It is literally the top 5% of students that get to go to college. And the state pays for it. It's free. And the philosophy is not everybody goes to college. Not everybody can go to college. It's almost like, was it George Bush or Bill Clinton? I'm confusing the two. One of them said everybody should go to college who wants to go to college, and the other one said everybody should be able to buy a house who wants to buy a house in America. Everybody should have a house in America. Well, okay, that's fair. That's realistic. And so what ends up happening? The number of people who borrow money to go to school, of course, is astronomical at 30 or 40 million Americans, and it is expensive. And the way we do colleges here in this country it's a broken system. And we do healthcare, it's a broken system. We do colleges, it's a broken system. I borrowed money to go to college. Frankly, I had no business going to college. Yeah, borrowed money for law school. Look how that's turned out, huh? You ever listen Saturday morning? What does that tell you? But realistically, it is a system here where the philosophy of everybody goes to school just doesn't make sense. What is wrong with a bit of elitism here? Where some people simply do better than others. I mean, is that just done as a philosophy? I guess so. All right, the UN climate change, the summit, the COP27, the COP27. I'll explain a little bit what's going on. There's actually some good news coming out of this one. Let's check in with Jennifer Jones-Lee live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Classes are canceled again today at the University of Virginia. The school community is grieving over the murders of 3 student athletes. The Transportation Department is penalizing Frontier Airlines for significant scheduling problems during the COVID pandemic. And today is National Clean Out Your Refrigerator Day. Health experts say that you should empty your refrigerator, throw out any recalled items, and wash all the removable parts. We'll get a look at your drive with VKFI in the sky. We'll check the 91 in just a moment.
The light source whole house water filtration system that I have at my house, and I have a lot of systems. Very simply, the best water filter I've ever had. And let's start with the fact that it filters water outside your house. So as it comes inside your house, it's highly filtered, delicious, obviously very safe water. Every tap, every faucet produces this water. And let me bottom line it for you. You're bathing, you're cleaning, you're cooking, you're doing dishes, your clothes, you're making coffee with bottled quality water. That's the light source whole house system. There's no maintenance of any kind ever, no filters to change, no salt, big bags of salt to pick up. And once they've installed your system, you're good to go. You're done. You never worry about water again. Light Source uses a proprietary technology. Call 800-803-2696, 800-803-2696. Visit lightsourcewater.com. Light Source Water, taste and feel the difference.
SoCal weather from KFI. We've got a sunny, windy day ahead. Highs are going to be in the mid-60s, and we've got a wind warning that kicks in at 8 o'clock tonight. This report is brought to you by waterheatersonly.com. Let's get a look at that drive, the KFI in the sky, and a review of the 91.
I go back to that wind a little bit, coming out of active Palmdale, it's getting a little breezy up there, so be careful. Now, some good news with the westbound 91, there was quite a problem at Cherry just before the 7:10. We had a couple lanes blocked there. We've watched it clear, so about for that. But it is real, so coming away from Carmenita, actually. I think once you get past the 605, not sure about that Lakewood Bellflower area. From there, you'll be okay, right to the end of the freeway at the 110. And you'll go through quite a closure here. North end, south 710 to the east 91. It's still shut down, probably will be for most of the day. They have to do some emergency construction there. And then finally, the North 405, now going up to LAX from Long Beach. Well, it's in fairly good shape, although getting a little slow getting to the 110. Again, up to about Inglewood, and then finally, things going through a very slow morning here. Jeff Fogg, AFI in the sky.
Running out of hot water? Might be time for a new water heater. Visit waterheatersonly.com. Quick 5-star rated service. Friendly local technicians, low prices, and 0% deferred interest financing. Visit waterheatersonly.com. Terms and conditions apply.
This report is sponsored by iaccidentlawyer.com. Tired of the BS? We spent $500,000 of this. Result, $8 million for leg injured motorcyclist. The money's good and the bids are high. Speeding fast, the check is on Bank of America, and it's real. Give me the VIN.com, America's best car buyer. Fill up your car. Give me the VIN.com. So easy you can do it, and you're on the way. Going halfway isn't the best way. For instance, would you give your child half a bike helmet?
You sure this is safe?
Or go out in the store with half an umbrella?
No, that's not going to work.
Would you sell for half a haircut? I don't think we're done. Don't go halfway, especially with your immunity to COVID-19. Stay up to date with your vaccine and boosters. Visit myturn.ca.gov to find one near you. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Hey, all, it's Steve Sharp. Are you running out of hot water? Water Heaters Only has been specializing in the repair and replacement of water heaters since 1968. That's over 54 years as the original water heater specialist. So visit waterheatersonly.com for zero interest financing. Terms and conditions apply. Request quick service or call to speak with a live operator 24 hours a day. Don't wait. Don't overpay. Visit waterheatersonly.com today. That's waterheatersonly.com.
It's time to celebrate the holidays and each other safely. No matter what's going on out there, in here, your loved ones are protected. Trust the Paulette Court to keep all surfaces clean, sanitized, and safe this holiday season. From your carpet to your air ducts to your upholstery and more. We'll help keep your home healthy for the holidays. Call 800-4QUIT today and save 35%.
There's no changeover in office anyway. None. Well, that's the reason we're slow, because that is archaic. No, yes. And then the second half of the last meeting says that today we're only coming here for that. No, that's their problem. John and Ken. No.
We gave it too.
No.
On KFI.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Bill Handel here. It is a Tuesday morning, November 15th. And before we go on with the program, here is your chance to win some money in your pocket.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, GRAND. That's GRAND, GRAND. Enter it now at kfiam640.com/cash. Powered by Sweet James Accident Attorneys. If you're hurt in an accident, winning is everything. Call the winning attorneys at Sweet James. 800-500-5200. That's 800-500-5200 or sweetjames.com.
And this is a reminder to not text the keyword. You have to actually enter it online at the website, our website, kfiam640.com/cash. Winners are notified by email, so keep an eye out. You may also want to check your spam and or junk folder to see if you've won. Continue listening for your next chance to win, and that's every hour from 9 to 5 p. And that's Monday through Friday. And some of the big stories that we're covering before we get to the COP27. Walmart has become the latest major player in the drug industry, announcing a plan to settle lawsuits regarding their opiate sales, $3.1 billion. And about $50 billion already has been paid, but this is among states and counties and individuals, so you stretch that out, and it's not a whole lot of money for everybody. All right, the COP27 summit has ended, and that was in Indonesia, where the president met with President Xi of China and virtually all the other world leaders, except for Putin. He was too busy shelling Ukraine to show up, although he did send his foreign minister. And these COP summits, basically most summits are a waste of time. You know, all the various heads of state sit around, and they sit around those tables with flowers in the middle, and they're on opposite ends of each other, and then you have flags of the different countries, and I'm assuming they have the food is pretty good, although you never see them eating, and not a lot happens. There's a photo op at the end, and not a lot happens. This time there was actually something happening. There was some progress actually made at the COP27, this particular summit. And one of the issues is getting to net zero. Getting to zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050 to stop global warming. And that actually got closer. The COP26 in Glasgow, Scotland, fell apart because of the frustration that international finance wasn't going to developing countries. And the point is not us moving to net zero. We're going to do it. We've got the money. It's just a question of time. Even the energy companies are moving in that direction. We know that. Problem is, how do developing countries get to that point? Because it takes money. And in those countries, the people, for example, tonight will be eating sand for dinner. There just isn't money to do that, and it is expensive. So the COP26 summit in Glasgow, not much happened. The international finance wasn't going to developing countries, even though it had been promised. 2021 was COP26. And for the first time, the financial sector, the private financial sector showed up. Private banks, insurers, institutional investors, representing $130 trillion in terms of the money that's out there. And they're hoping, these countries are hoping that some of the money flows towards them. And, of course, it hasn't. But at least there's more talk about it. All right. In the year since COP26, a UN commission said this is the kind of money, this is what a company or institution has to do to make a credible claim about net zero goals. There's something called greenwashing, saying here's what we're going to do, here's our plan, and it means nothing. So let me tell you what they've actually come up with and the positive that's come out of COP27. International financial institutions like the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, designed to help developing countries. Now, up to this point, it's loaning money to developing countries, granting money to developing countries, and it has to do with infrastructure, building dams and roads and establishing grants for business. This is about climate change. But over the past 12 months, a lot of frustration, not only with the financial system, the international, but also with the World Bank. Low-income countries have complained since the net zero emissions concept has come forward. They're saying, hey, the only way we're going to do this, we have to borrow money from the World Bank or the International Monetary Fund. We can't afford that. So, matter of fact, the World Bank president stepped down, nominated by the U.S. president, always, because we put in all the money, or the vast majority of money, and the current one who's on his way out was nominated by President Trump a couple, 3 years ago. And so a lot of pressure because nothing is happening. I'll tell you who's one of the lead figures. Strangely enough, the Barbados Prime Minister, who happens to be a leading voice for reform. Everybody pays attention to her, calling for $1 trillion that's already in the international system to go to the climate change projects in 4 countries. And are we moving in that direction? Lip service is what it's all about. So the issue of more public/private partnerships being developed, speed decarbonization to power clean energy transition. There is something called the Just Energy Transition Partnership that was announced 2021, and it was the first country that got money under this program was South Africa. Its transition away from coal power, and it's a mix of grants and loans and investments, and that is the poster child for this system. So here we go, public funding. No. Developed countries, well, it's inflation, it's the economy, and the money just isn't there. I mean, you can promise the money and have the money there and break your promise. Or you can promise the money and you don't have the money, so it makes no difference. So you've got governments, including the U.S., either unable or unwilling to make commitments. So John Kerry was all about this. And John Kerry, remember when he was the U.S. Special Climate Envoy? Is he still? May very well be. And he came up with, or the administration came up with these carbon credits. And voluntary carbon markets are now emerging, and there are new rules that are being proposed. And so the bottom line is that it's still lip service for the most part. However, it's moving away from lip service and moving towards a little bit less lip service and real things happening. And we'll see. And we'll see what happens. So we know COP28 is going to talk about it. What's it like working for the world's richest person, who happens to be the world's worst boss? I'll tell you about employees, and they'll tell you all about Elon Musk. There's some great stories. Let's check in with Jennifer Jones-Lee live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
48,000 student researchers at all 10 University of California campuses have gone on strike for better pay and benefits.
We do the bulk of the work, but our salaries do not reflect that.
UCLA grad student Stephanie Minna says not only does that mean they do most of the teaching,
We do most of the research as well. We collect data. We work in the lab.
UC Irvine PhD student Jesse Alfieri says some student researchers make as little as $24,000 a year.
More than half of my monthly pay goes to my rent. So I have pennies left over to afford the rest of my bills.
UC says it's committed to negotiating a multi-year deal with fair pay and benefits. At UC Irvine, Corbin Carson, KFI News.
Christina Applegate has made her first public appearance since announcing she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. The actress spoke at the unveiling of her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame yesterday. She recalled her first impression of the famous sidewalk when she was 5.
Waiting in line to see the first Star Wars on this very street, at that very theater, and looking at these things going, who are these people? What did they do? Did they do something right? Did they do something wrong? Whatever it is, I want one.
Applegate stars in the Netflix series Dead to Me. NASA JPL will launch a new satellite designed to measure all the water on the planet.
The Surface Water and Oceanography mission, known as SWOT, will be the first to observe nearly all water on Earth's surface, measuring heights of lakes, rivers, reservoirs, and the ocean.
All this water will be seen by SWAT in one mission to the first
bombings change over time. Steve Gregory, KFI News.
A spokesman for Ukraine's Air Force says Russia fired around 100 missiles in a countrywide strike. At least 10 regions and cities reported they were targeted. Officials announced emergency blackouts in some facilities and residential areas. They told people to cut back on power usage and to hang in there. And World Cup fans have a chance to rank their favorite cups from around the world, and you pay for it.
The month-long global quadrennial soccer competition is about watching 32 countries play a lot of soccer while usually drinking a lot of beer. You, not the players. The online sportsbook and casino review site Bonus Finder is offering cash and prizes to rank the suds. One lucky winner will get a beer from each of the countries playing in the World Cup. They'll jot down some notes and they'll rank the beers best to worst. The winner will also get a new television and $500 for their time. The World Cup kicks off in Qatar on Sunday, where the beer can only be sold in designated tents outside of venues, and they cannot be taken into the games. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
We'll get a look at your drive with DKFI in the sky. Better news for the 5 in just a moment.
I've been a small business person my entire adult life. And over the years, I got nailed on some HR issues. And like most small to medium-sized business owners, I couldn't come close to affording an HR person. Well, there's an answer here, Bambi.com. With Bambi, you do get an HR person, starting at just $99 per month. And I know that sounds too good to be true, but this actually is for real. Bambi helps you deal with your HR problems like writing HR policies, sexual harassment training, hostile work environment, terminations where I got nailed. People complaining about other employees, they smell terrible, all putting you and your business at risk. So with Bambi, you get access to your own dedicated HR manager available by phone, email, real-time chat. Go to Bambi.com, type in KFI under the radio drop-down when you sign up. I get the credit. Thank you for that. Bambi.com, that's B-A-M-B-E-E, spelled BAM-B-E-E, Bambi.com.
SoCal weather from KFI, mostly sunny today, highs will be in the upper 60s. We've got a Santa Ana wind event starting later tonight with a wind advisory that kicks in at 8. Now, those gusty winds look like they're going to be with us off and on through about Friday, with temps warming into the 70s. Our humidity level will be low, so all of that combined will lead to high fire danger. Let's get a look at your drive with DKFI in the sky. Better news on the 5.
Well, Lou, good morning. Thanks for letting us ride along with you here. It's been a tough one. A little bit better news is the word for that north on that Eldora Road. It was quite a problem. It's starting to thin out a little bit. I'll just use that. And after that, you'll be okay up towards your spectrum in the 5-405 split. Now, major problems continue on the 55, really dire. And the halfway point in between the 5 and the 405. There's delays in both directions. Big pressures on both sides of the freeway. Surface streets are tough. There's nothing that goes all the way down and runs parallel. So Tustin Avenue, State College, some of that is good, but it's really a tough drive. Other than that, the only ongoing problem we have in LA County is the southbound 710 transition, north and south 710 transition to the East 91. It's going to be closed for a while. We've been working on it for quite some time. It's really kind of a knot around there. Oh, better news for the West 91 around Cherry. There wasn't problem next clear, so all lanes are open again. Jeff Farnham, AFI in the sky.
Hey, there's a better way to fly. Instead of being stuck in endless lines and packed onto planes, try simplifying your travel with Surf Air. Save an average of 2 hours on every trip and avoid crowded airports with a new way to fly private. With Surf Air, you'll fly from smaller airports closer to your home. There are no lines, no waiting, and no stress. SurfAir.com, the best alternative to commercial air travel that makes flying easy. Get a free quote on your next flight at SurfAir.com. There's a better way to fly private.
Our electric bills are pretty high.
I'm concerned about the addition of our infrastructure.
We've been told in California that the fires, they said that they're going to shut off the power and it could be shut off for longer periods than usual.
I look at our electric bills and they keep going up and up and up.
We had to find a solution to our energy bill.
Your home is an ecosystem. Solar power, battery storage, and efficient air conditioning all work together to ensure your house is comfortable, protected, and self-sustaining. Save today and prepare for tomorrow with Sempra 360, the all-in-one home energy solution.
The savings are better than what I expected. I said I want the 18. This was the 18.
From the beginning to the end, they have been the best.
Declare your energy independence with Sempra Solaris, your local and veteran owned solar, battery, and air contractor. Take advantage of the 30% federal solar tax credit. Zero down, zero interest, and zero payments for 12 months. For all offers, call 877-211-5591 or visit SempraSolaris.com. Expires November 30th, 2022. TSLB 978-152.
Medicare beneficiaries, master the ABCs of this year's annual election period with PIH Health. A. Attend the Medicare Forum. B. Browse options and speak with health plan representatives and brokers. C. Choose a health plan that gives you access to the full PIH Health network of primary care and specialty physicians. Visit pihhealth.org/AEP or call 888-365-4450. That's 888-365-4450. 888-365-4450. Your health and wellness partner.
1-877 cars for kids. KARS cars for kids.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS or go online at carsforkids.org to donate today. 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. Donate your car today. Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate. American Vision Windows, SoCal's choice for energy-efficient windows and doors. AmericanVisionWindows.com.
KFI.
AM 640.
An iHeart radio station.
Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Bill Handel here on a Tuesday. Going to be very windy starting tonight, November 15th. Gusts 60 miles per hour, so you're going to be there's going to be some wind warnings, fire warnings for sure. I want to share this with you because this is kind of a fun story, and it has to do with Elon Musk. Well, anything with Elon Musk is fun unless you happen to be working for Elon Musk and Twitter when he fired you. But this is a story came out of the LA Times, and I want to start with a disclaimer here. This is about as biased a story as I've seen in a very long time. Now, is there some truth to it? Yeah, the LA Times. I mean, they corroborate. I mean, one of the things about mainstream media is it actually is corroborated for the most part. They don't just come up with this. But in the last 2 weeks, what happened at Twitter? Firings, threats, bluster, day-to-day uncertainty among employees. The demand from Musk, you have to work in the office at long hours. So, do you describe Musk as a warm and cuddly boss? No, not quite. He now has more than 100,000 employees. And he burns through executives like I do underwear about once a week. No more than that. He takes criticism personally. He's been known to fire people on a whim. Since buying Twitter, his public image has shifted, obviously. And one of the reasons you don't hear a whole lot about employees that are disgruntled, new employees sign these tough non-disclosure agreements. And he's developed a reputation for going after those who breach that and actually exacting retribution for even talking about the NDAs. And there's plenty on the public record. We know about personal attacks, we know about union busting. There have been a lot of factory floor injuries, there have been health concerns. There has been allegation of a dismissive approach to racism. There's also one great story and allegation, of course I think this is way out here, involving a horse and sexual favors. Don't quite know how they connect, but, why not? Let's throw that out too. And his short fuse is legend. I mean, that we knew. And employees have learned to just stay the hell out of his way, especially when he's angry. There is a story that was written by Wired, a writer that works for Wired. It's called Dr. Elon and Mr. Musk. So the story of Musk summoning a young engineer to his office, and he shouts at him, "Hey, buddy, this doesn't work." And he says, "Did you do this?" And the engineer said, "You mean program the robot?" It was a robotic issue. "Program the robot or design the tool?" And Musk is screaming, asked him, "How
How did you effing do this? Or did you effing do this? And then the engineer goes, I'm not sure what you're even referring to. You're an effing idiot. Get the F out of here. Don't come back. And that's how he's fired. And there is another book, 2021. It's a book by Higgins, this author Higgins, Power Play. And he writes about how Musk vents his anger. Musk says he doesn't do rage firings, but he provides, quote, clear and frank feedback. But general reputation, again, keep in mind, this is an LA Times article, and as I read it, it is about as biased as you can get. When he was asked about his temper, he said he doesn't do rage firings. But if he perceives he's been crossed, man, he goes forward with retribution, and this guy has a lot of power. He lashes out. You remember that British diver suggested that mini submarine developed by Musk to rescue those young soccer players that were trapped in a cave back, I think it was in Indonesia. And there was, you can't do this, Musk, because it just isn't going to work. And remember, he called the diver a pedophile. He was sued. Musk won that trial, by the way. There's an engineer at Tesla who emailed Musk about what she saw as a serious safety issue in the product design. So she was called to a meeting and thought she would have a face-to-face with him. She was led into a security room, according to her, and simply fired. And for years, she's been trying to sue Tesla for defamation, but you're fighting some of the best lawyers out there. There's another whistleblower, Mark Tripp, moved to Hungary to get away from Musk when he talked about excessive scrap waste at Tesla's battery factory. And it was Musk went after him. It goes on and on where there are some real issues. And Tesla is basically a startup company. I mean, it's fabulously successful. It has a cap of, I think, greater than General Motors and Ford and Chevy put together. And he sells about 1.1, 1.2 million cars a year, making money. That's the most of his work is in Tesla. That's what makes him the richest man in the world. And according to this story, there were some injury rates, and that did prove because mainly bosses couldn't call the ambulance or send the employees to a doctor other than Tesla doctors, and you had the management had to okay the calling of the ambulance. I mean, these are great stories. The bottom line is, I guess, you really don't want to work for us, do you? No, I don't think so. The only thing they do around here, management, not that I'm ripping into management, but read your contract info. It says that if you have a major medical problem, if possible, do it on the air.
Oh, for ratings.
Yeah, well, 100%. Yeah, exactly. All right, coming up, we're going to finish the show with TikTok. It has become an ad juggernaut, and I'll explain how that works. In the meantime, let's check in with Jennifer Jones-Lee, live at the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine's under attack as that nation's war against Russia goes on. Ukrainian authorities have announced emergency blackouts after Russian strikes on the power grid. It's expected to be busy around Cape Canaveral tonight. The Artemis 1 launch is set to take place in Florida. And the Recording Academy will announce nominations today for the 65th Annual Grammy Awards live from the Grammy Museum in Los Angeles. SoCal weather from KFI, sunny today, highs in the 60s. We've got a major wind event that starts tonight, 8-ish. They've got a wind warning in effect starting then. Then we could have gusts of wind all the way through the weekend. Highs for the rest of the week will be in the 70s. This report is brought to you by waterheatersonly.com. Let's get a look at your drive. BKFI in the sky in the 405.
We're better for you to make your way southbound along the 405 getting to the Sherman Oaks area. It's an early wreck that's been cleared from lanes, although the 405 southbound overall still looking pretty rough here, right? As we come into the San Fernando Valley, it looks like that will be busy from as far back as Roscoe Boulevard. Unrelated slowing continuing ahead as you make way through West LA, sort of sunset to north on the 405. Still pretty patchy for your drive overall coming out of the Long Beach area, seeing heavy stretches of slowing
as you come away from, let's lighten up through Long Beach off the 605, especially starts to get busy for you in Carson around Avalon Boulevard for heavy stretches of select back through West LA as you make way toward about Santa Monica Boulevard. Hey, to find this guy helps get you there faster. I'm Nick Polio-T.
Running out of hot water? Might be time for a new water heater. Visit waterheatersonly.com. Click 5-star rated service. Friendly local technicians, low prices, and 0% deferred interest financing. Visit waterheatersonly.com. Terms and conditions apply. This report is sponsored by the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. Keep cool LA with heat discounts up to $225 on room air conditioners. Shop the Cool LA Marketplace at ladwp.com today and smooth out your summer bills by paying the same amount every month with LADWP's new Level Pay program. Call 800-TWP to sign up today.
Good assets like a home, why not set up a trust or a will so everything transfers to your loved ones without costly delays? Make a quick call to Legal Docs by Me, and that's going to give you peace of mind. No expensive lawyers, no confusing websites, and you'll save thousands of dollars. Yes, I said thousands. All you have to do is call them right now. They're going to take down the necessary information and help you throughout the entire process. Just dial pound 250 on your cell phone and say Legal Docs. Pound 250 Legal Docs. Again, pound 250 and say Legal Docs. Legal Docs by Me. No lawyers. Save money. Contractor license 47781. Hey, Zach, it's that time again. What time? Rejuvenation. We gonna rejuvenate everyone's furnace? Yes, for just $129. Rejuvenating your furnace is extremely very important. If you have a gas furnace, there are 5 life-saving systems that need to be checked before you fire it up. And if you have electric heat, rejuvenating your system is even more extremely very important. $129 is all it takes to keep your family safe. Yeah, air conditioning and plumbing. COETTL.com. We do things the right way, not the easy way.
Family, friends, and quality time are so valuable. This is what life is about. I'm Susan Ellen, managing partner at personal injury law firm Owen Patterson & Owen. I've seen thousands of injuries. In an emergency, you need a trusted law firm with decades of experience, a winning record, and support after the accident, getting you back to the ones you love. If you've been injured, call us directly at 888-OPO-WIN, 888-OPO-WINS, OPOLaw.com.
A Uline. They know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7. Give you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, changing economic trends. Uline works hard, keeping 38,000 items ready to ship, minimizing trade stores on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com. Hey, Alpha here. Let's talk about water and money because, well, both are pretty scarce right now. So what do you spend on bottled water every month? Like $50 a month? How about this? For nothing down and only $45 a month, you know, a Purigan water, whole house water filtration, conditioning, and descaling system. It comes with a free 6-stage alkaline water system and free installation. And if that wasn't enough, you're also going to get free annual testing, unlimited service calls, and lifetime servicing. Get pure water from your tap with no chemicals and nothing down for just $45 a month. That's only 7 lattes. You could do that, right? Oh, and did I mention you own the system? Go online and look up Purigan water. Their 5-star reviews are everywhere. Stay on with this fresh water. I've had Purigan for about a year now, and I've loved that my family's safe from harmful chemicals. Pretty cool, right? So dump the bottles, call 844-80-WATER, 844-80-WATER, or the website, PURagainwater.com. PURagainwater.com. That's PuriganWater.com.
Survivors of clergy child sexual abuse in California have limited time to seek justice. Survivors have until December 2022 to take legal action. Contact Jeff Anderson and Associates for a confidential conversation. Call us at 1-800-ITS-TIME, 12011 San Vicente Boulevard, Suite 700, Los Angeles, California. Attorney advertising. Warning, your heater may be unsafe. Don't turn on your heater again without calling Next Gen HVAC and Plumbing for a safety inspection and tune-up. Only $68 for a limited time. Only $68 for safety and peace of mind. Amazon Business honors Jill Lau, Chief Procurement Officer of Global Network Bank. Last week, Jill saved big and used Amazon Business to help her team buy 327 headsets. Now Bob can keep his conversations to himself.
Wait, am I still on speakerphone?
With business buying easier than before, Jill now uses her extra time to focus on growing something big. Buy smarter, dream bigger. Visit Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying. Hang it up, Bob.
Okay, Crozier, Stafouche, and Chris Little. Fully nude tonight, kids. I would be totally comfortable walking in topless every day.
Really?
I think more on the iHeartRadio app. Bill Handel here. Tuesday morning, November 15th. Continue with the show. Some of the big stories that are out there. Karen Bass, running for mayor, takes the lead over Rick Caruso, now by more than 29,000 votes, and that keeps expanding. So it looks like she is going to win. Good for her, bad for Rick Caruso. And California is reporting the first death of a child under the age of 5 due to both flu and RSV. So that is starting to, and if you notice that hospitals are now filling up again like they did in the early days of COVID, hospitals are now putting tents outside in their parking lots, their parking structures on temporary hospital facilities. Looking at another one, hopefully not. I want to end the show with TikTok, a story about TikTok. And this is fascinating to me because this is not only the use of the internet, which is, I've always been fascinated how it works in a business sense, but also what is going on in terms of advertising. And it's all about advertising. Now, it's also about data mining in many of these applications, but with TikTok, it's all about ads. Now, TikTok, and I used to make fun of TikTok, it's basically dance videos and pop songs. And to put it aside, the app is owned by a Chinese company, ByteDance. Well, it's built itself into a digital advertising juggernaut. This year, it's on track to make $10 billion in ad revenue, double what it did last year. How about 100% growth? I mean, that's good. The ad revenue for TikTok is going to be bigger than Twitter and Snap, although compared to Google and Meta, of course, they're much, much bigger. But in terms of growth, no one's coming close to TikTok. And as digital advertising is slumping, because of the economy worldwide is going south, TikTok is growing like a weed. Now, even with all of this, and there are some concerns, advertisers have concerns about TikTok, Chinese ownership, content quality, problems with bot traffic because they sell based on the number of viewers, and if they're bots, fake viewers, what do you do with that? But even with all that, companies keep flocking to the app. Man, they just love it. TikTok says it has more than 1 billion users, so let's say it has 10% bots. Right? Still 900 million. And if you look at the amount of time spent on TikTok by the average user, it's 96 minutes per day. 5 times more than Snapchat, 3 times more than Twitter, twice as much as Facebook and Instagram. Rich Greenfield, who's a tech analyst for a company that studies the internet apps and sales of information and ad revenue, says TikTok is eating the world. The only thing that matters in the world of entertainment is time spent. What matters in the world of products being sold, how much you're selling. And for that, TikTok is, well, they have a different business model. What they did is actually brilliant. So to ramp up its ad business, TikTok made some unconventional moves. I mean, this is absolute genius. So you have social media platforms, and they sell ads. You have banners, you have commercials, for example, in podcasts you have to listen to. Well, TikTok does a little differently. They have ads that appear like any full screen videos on the platform. You don't know what is an ad and what you don't know. There's also the world that when you look at radio and television, same thing happens in different ways. Product placement. Someone is sitting at a desk and there's a can of Diet Coke or Coke. And they pay for that. Obviously, Coke pays for that placement, but it becomes part of the story itself, as opposed to this blast of an ad that you know instantly is an ad. It's more subtle. In the world of radio, for example, ads that you simply talk about in show. And give you an example, I don't do this, by the way, because I'm not good enough to do this, but Let's say I'm doing an ad for something, a commercial, and instead of doing the ad the way you hear everybody do it, it becomes a story as part of content. And all of a sudden, it's a commercial within the show. That's what TikTok does. And boy, is it successful. Um, so this app, what it's done is push brands to work with content creation. And here's what it tells its customers. Uh, don't make ads. Make TikToks. There's a hashtag, TikTok made me buy it. Has 28.6 billion views. And what this does, and the various companies that advertise on TikTok, it fine tunes their reach and frequency of the ads and just makes the whole thing seamless. It's so impressive. They even have an advertising event, the largest in the world, and it's the Cannes Lions International Festival of Creativity. Like the Cannes Film Festival, except it's a festival of TikTok promoters. And TikTok, yes, they post the videos. All right, enough of that. Are you a TikTok fan, by the way, Shannon?
You know, I only allow myself about 5 to 7 minutes of TikTok.
Not the 96 minutes that's average?
It's hard. I mean, if you get lost in that thing, you start and it's hard to stop. It's addictive.
So do you do the challenges?
I do not do
You
the
know, like
challenge.
the cinnamon challenge, which I always love.
Yeah, no, I'm not a TikTok poster. I'm just an observer.
Okay. All right. So what's going on today on the Shannon Farron show?
Well, it is a packed day, isn't it? I don't know how we're going to get to all of this. We've got Trump's big announcement tonight. We've got an update on the shooter that robbed the world of those 3 talented athletes in Virginia, upstanding men as well. Casey Anthony sits down and lays out on her dad over the murder of her little girl, and also Gavin Newsom's wife testifying about being raped by Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
Loaded show.
Yeah, a lot going on. And is the former president announced he wants to be the next president?
Oh, yeah.
I think so, too.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. All right, Gary and Shannon coming right up. I'll be back again tomorrow. We start at 5 o'clock with Jennifer, Wake Up Call, and I'm here from 6 to 10 with the morning crew. Shannon, you have a good show.
Thank you, sir.
This is KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
If you didn't like that opinion, keep listening. We've got a few more.
KFI.
And the KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
He's going to be okay. I'm Mark Ronner, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Jay Leno's recovering from gasoline burns to his face and hands.
Rachel's personal belongings, cell phone, car keys, and her vehicle were still at the location.
Let's try that again.
Leno says the fire happened inside the garage in Burbank, where he keeps a large number of vintage cars and sports cars. The Burbank Police Department says Leno was injured Sunday and he was taken to the Grossman Burn Center in West Hills. The hospital says Leno is in stable condition and is in good humor and touched by all the inquiries into his condition and the well wishes. Leno's canceled his appearance for this Saturday at Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank and a show at the Financial Brand Forum in Las Vegas. Leno tweeted yesterday that he's okay and just needs a week or 2 to get on his feet. Steve Gregory, Picoftheday News.
News brought to you by veteran-owned SemperSolaris.com. Parts of LA County will be under a high fire danger red flag warning tomorrow. Forecasters say it'll be the first strong Santa Ana event of the season. The warning will also affect the Santa Clarita and San Fernando valleys, the Malibu coast, and the Santa Monica Mountains. The body of a missing mother from Simi Valley has been found in the Antelope Valley, and the woman's ex-husband was arrested in Victorville. Simi Valley Police Commander Craig Duncan says the woman's sister called 911 last Thursday to report her missing sister. But when police arrived at the home, there was evidence of a struggle.
Rachel's personal belongings, cell phone, car keys, and her vehicle were still at the location. Simi Valley detectives took control of the case immediately.
Duncan says the body was found Sunday, and the ex-husband was arrested a short time later. He's in jail on $500,000 bail. The couple have 2 young children. 2 French bulldogs have been ripped away from their owners on the 6th Street Bridge in LA. The thieves pulled up on people walking their dogs Friday. One got out and took the dogs
sets of dog food at home, and then I have, a number of them.
Brett says French bulldogs are averaging more than $3,000 right now. She says thieves often sell them at a lower price. Blake trolling KFI News. Jennifer Newsom has testified in the sexual assault trial of Harvey Weinstein. The wife of Governor Newsom provided jurors yesterday with a graphic account of what she called a violent assault that lasted for over an hour. Newsom was the seventh woman to testify how Weinstein used his status to pressure them to meet with him alone in hotel rooms where he could sexually assault them. She's expected to return to the stand today. Federal prosecutors in New York have decided not to file criminal charges against Rudy Giuliani for lobbying activities in Ukraine. Aaron Kaczynski says federal prosecutors in Manhattan have been investigating whether Giuliani should have registered as a foreign agent. The FBI had seized more than a dozen of Giuliani's devices during an April 2021 search of his home and office. Giuliani maintained he had done nothing wrong. Prosecutors now sent a letter to the judge saying that based on information currently available, criminal charges would not be forthcoming. Giuliani's lawyer called it a total victory. The House committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol says it's considering next steps. Since former President Trump was a no-show for his deposition, it was supposed to happen yesterday. The committee approved a subpoena last month. Trump filed a lawsuit Friday challenging the order. The world's reached a population of almost 8 billion people. Data from the UN says it's due to people living longer and having fewer kids. In 2011, there were 7 billion people roaming the planet. The UN predicts the population will not grow to 9 billion for another 15 years. Southland weather from KFI. Sunny today with highs in the upper 60s at the beaches, low 70s in metro LA, OC in the valleys, mid 60s in the IE. We've got a wind advisory in effect from 10 tonight until 7 o'clock tomorrow. We're going to get down to the 40s tonight, and we should have sun and 70s through the weekend. Right now it's 68 in Yorba Linda, 61 in Parsons, 63 in Irvine, 61 in San Clemente. KFI market report. The Dow is now up 145, S&P 500 up 50, NASDAQ up 245, and the average price for a gallon of regular gas in California is $5.43. Now let's head up to a crash that has been cleared in Santa Ana on the 55. Southbound Desire, overturned vehicle involved out of the carpool and left lane, although it's still going to be a rough go for your drive on the southbound 55 right now from before 17th Street. Not quite as far back as from 22, but definitely heavy for your drive. Also seeing some delays for the southbound on the 55 in stretches leaving, we'll say about the 405 as you continue in the Newport Beach area. Then if there's something slowing you downtown, if you're getting yourself on keyword is KFI traffic, southbound side of the 405, out of Westminster, leaving Westminster Boulevard, still going for you in the Fountain Valley, towards Brookhurst and the 5 southbound, vastly improved, but still looking kind of rough for your ride. In Santa Ana, out of the north stretch of the 557 and 22 split 5 southbound, actually showing up for your drive as you make it through the Irvine area toward about Jeffrey. In South Orange County, on the northbound side of the 4 Road, earlier 2 cars from Matthew cleared to the right shoulder, still going for you overall. Leaving Crown Valley, westbound side of the 91 as you're coming through Anaheim Hill, still going from Imperial Highway to the 55. For the westbound of the 91, seeing delays for you in stretches again through the Fullerton area from about Raymond or East Street as you continue to the 5, and the eastbound side of the 91 out of Wayne Park before Beach Boulevard, still going for you back toward Euclid. KFI that's going up to get to there faster. I'm Nick Poliottini.
By now, you've heard the news. Vaccine boosters are available for eligible Californians. Boosters support stronger immunity and help maximize protection against COVID-19 and its variants. Visit myturn.ca.gov to find out if you're eligible and to find a booster near you. That's myturn.ca.gov. Stay healthy and strong. Get boosted. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
It's Ryan Seacrest here. So you tested positive for COVID. What's next? Treat yourself. COVID treatments are free. Taken by pill, these medications can stop the illness from getting serious. So treat yourself. Call a healthcare provider or the statewide COVID hotline at 833-422-4255 to find free treatment today. That's 833-422-4255. Again, 833-422-4255. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
At Indicator, we still working our thing. Maybe that's why we get orders from 93% of Fortune 500 companies. So what's up with the other 7%?
But who is leaving in?
You should have ordered through Indicator, especially delivered right on time.
Easycator, huh? Have a pen?
No, I don't have a pen. Does anyone have a pen?
Yeah, I'll remember.
Why don't all companies order through Indicator? Who knows? Order 24/7 from over 95,000 restaurants on easycator.com. Indicator, food for work. That's our thing.
Yellowstone, television's #1 show, is back on Paramount Network.
I found out that we solemnly swear to uphold the Constitution of the state of Montana against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Featuring an all-star cast led by Academy Award winner Kevin Costner.
Invasion is over.
No fight you dare
when you woke up this morning?
It looks like it'll be back up to 77 next week.
I think tomorrow morning is going to be much more uncomfortable because it's going to be windy tomorrow morning.
Blah, blah, blah.
Not that.
Blah, blah, blah.
None of that is going to be fun. And the winds are supposed to actually pick up by about 8 o'clock tonight, I think is the forecast. So the expectation is that overnight everything is going to blow over. And we're not going to be able to drive to work tomorrow. The trees will be covered.
No, it's going to be fine. These two shall pass.
I don't know about that. I do not know about that. Stocks have actually had a very nice morning. They jumped up at the opening. They have given up some of their earlier gains, but the Dow's up about 155 points right now. S&P 500 up 50. Nasdaq is up 251. All of it because the new report came out and said the producer price index rose just 0.2% in October, slower than the 0.4 that was expected. So that's I guess relatively good news when it comes to inflation. We just need to go back down the other way pretty quickly.
Mike Pence continues his war against former President Trump, saying, I think there will be better choices when he was asked if Trump should run for president. And speaking of, tonight is the big night where Trump has been teasing this big announcement, and he seems to be running on the underdog ticket. If you can, deduce that he will announce that he's running. He's going to do so as that I'm an underdog, the way he did 7 years ago.
Yeah. Here is what I expect to happen today. If he does hold this news conference, and if he does say anything, I guess that he will say something like, I'm going to announce a very important thing at some other very important time in the future.
Oh, you think so?
Because there's a couple of things going on. There's been a lot of pressure for him to put off this announcement that he's running for president, if for no other reason than to throw everything he can behind the Senate runoff in Georgia, right? Now, it doesn't mean as much today as it would have, say, 4 or 5 days ago, because we now know that Democrats are going to retain control of the Senate. They've already picked up their 50 seats. And if Raphael Warnock gets reelected, it simply would be 51. They don't need it. It's not a giant thing. The tiebreaker still goes to the vice president, who obviously is a Democrat. So that's not a big issue. What he was expecting was, when he made his big announcement about the big announcement back on Monday before Election Day, he was expecting what I think a lot of us were expecting, which was going to be a really strong Republican showing in the election on Tuesday. It didn't materialize that way. Yes, they may take control of the House. Seems pretty likely by the end of the day today, actually, we could have that. But he was expecting that he was going to then ride that wave into this excitement that all of the people that he was endorsing were the ones who were going to rise to the top, and that he was going to be once again the king that rides in from the hill.
You've got to change the playbook. Where do you go now? Do you go after Republicans for failing to materialize that red wave? Or do you, what I think would be the best tactic, go after Biden and the Democrats? Let it alone. Let the 2020 election alone.
Yeah.
Move on. And don't eat your own party. Go after the Democrats. That's the way. Here's how you're going to unify.
It feels like about every 6 months, 9 months, something like that, we say the same thing about Democrats. That the party is eating itself from the inside, and then it switches. Something happens. It seems like the party that is not in power doesn't really have to do anything, and then they just start stepping on their own shoelaces, and it becomes a stampede, and a bunch of people get hurt. That all you have to do is if Republicans, all they had to do, even with the issue of abortion, and as controversial as it was, and galvanizing as it was in June, all you had to do is say, how much did you spend on gas? How much did you spend on milk this week? How about your groceries?
That's all you need to talk about is the economy. That's all people care about. There was another study out yesterday. Inflation is the #1 priority. I went grocery shopping yesterday I made chicken noodle soup last night, right?
Expensive taste.
And then I got some fruit and some stuff for the week, a couple salad things. It was, and I did buy wine, so there's that. But it was well over, it wasn't expensive wine. It was like $8 a bottle of wine, right? But I got a 6-pack to get 10% off, right? It was over $150.
Yeah.
Like, for just, there's 2 people in my house, and it's not like I food for the entire week, and it's not like I was buying, saffron. It was wild.
And that's my point. Is it's an everyday thing that people saw, people witnessed, and that all they did. I don't see it being talked about, but a lot of people who were sort of in the middle were not voting in favor of Joe Biden or in favor of Congress, a democratically controlled Congress and their policies. It was, we just don't want to have to deal with that guy and those people again. It's not even that that they lean left. It's that they don't want to have this guy get power. Now, there was in my mind, a great opinion piece in the Washington Post today by Mark Thiessen. Last week, I played for you the soundbite from him where he said this is a disaster for Republicans. He writes, Donald Trump appears to be surrounded by a band of enablers who refuse to tell him the things he doesn't want to hear, so I will. Mr. President, it is not in your interest to run in 2024. If you do, you will likely lose, and you will destroy what remains of your legacy in the process. Don't do it. He goes on to say, Mark Thiessen, a fan of Donald Trump, he loved the fact that he loved the policies that Donald Trump put in place. He even says this, in September 2020, so we're 9 months into the pandemic at that point, 8 months, whatever it is, 56% of registered voters, 56% in September of 2020 said that they were better off under Trump than they had been 4 years earlier. Which, when you think about it, is an amazing that many people didn't want to give him credit for that. They didn't want to look at the orange guy, whatever reason. But they admitted that they were better off than they had been before. He said this is the problem. It was a remarkable share considering the pandemic, the racial unrest, the economic crisis. He said 56% of Americans didn't vote for Trump a couple of months later. And if they had, he would still be president. And his conduct after the election only serves to confirm that judgment. And he said his better job, his better move would be to endorse Ron DeSantis, campaign for him, claim some share of the credit for his victory. Instead, Trump devised a weak nickname and an even weaker attack, which has backfired to this point.
An update on the murder investigation of the 3 football players at the University of Virginia. The parents of the shooter are now talking. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Carrie Shannon will continue. Mark Ronner is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Parts of LA County will be under a high fire danger red flag warning tomorrow, and what forecasters say will be the first strong Santa Ana event of the season. The judge has overturned a ban on abortion in Georgia starting around 6 weeks into a pregnancy, and foreigners hit the road for a farewell tour with 32 shows across the U.S. next summer, starting in Georgia. Between those last two, that's a pretty much full day. We'll check out some trouble on the 210 right after this.
Look at this. Look at all this water in my head. Isn't it beautiful?
It's essential. Why did I hit the cough button? It was going to speak.
I don't know.
It should say speak and cough. In fact, our bodies is 70% water. Most people don't realize that.
No, they don't. They don't realize that clean and healthy water is essential to live your best life.
Let's talk about Life Source, the whole house water system that will change your life.
A life source system gives you great water straight from every tap. You've been drinking it out of the bathtub.
And it tastes great. It's hard on the neck, but I love it. It removes the bad stuff, leaves in the good stuff, filtering out chlorine and other contaminants while retaining those healthy minerals.
Your skin and hair will feel great. You and your family will be healthier, more energetic.
Best part is a Life Source system is maintenance free. There's no filters to change, no salt, no bottled water. They install it and you forget it.
Tap into your best life with Life Source water. Act now to claim their best deal of the year on a Life Source system.
For a limited time, Life Source will pay your sales tax. Zero tax equals huge savings.
Call 800-803-2696 or visit lifesourcewater.com.
800-803-2696. Life Source. Taste and feel the difference. We're headed to a crash in Azusa on the 210. Coming in for your drive, and as you're making your way westbound at Azusa Avenue, 2 middle lanes are blocked, and that's going to be a mess for your drive heading westbound on the 210. As you're going away strongly at 57, get out of the Glendora and St. Demas area, and as you make your way westbound along the 10, it's an option to the 210 westbound. That's pretty improved, looking better from the morning drive, but still kind of patchy here and there. As you come out of West Covina through Baldwin Park from the 4 Pacific 10 westbound, going to be patchy for your drive toward Alhambra in the 710. 60 westbound, seeing some patchy delays for you as well. Getting into Diamond Bar, you make your way toward the 57, and those do stick around for you to make your way towards the 605. KFI in the sky helps get there faster. I'm Nick Paul.
This report is sponsored by ChooseChangeCA.org. Celiac disorder is a disease, not a choice. But getting help is. Make a change by choosing treatment for your messy cocaine addiction. Find proven treatment options at ChooseChangeCA.org. Earn a bachelor's, master's, or nursing degree in the classroom or online at Vanguard University, ranked as a top 10 university in the West by U.S. News and World Report for 12 consecutive years. At Vanguard, your story matters. Visit vanguard.edu to learn more.
Break out the winter coat or the hot chocolate because Christmas is returning to Sky Park in Santa's Village, located near Lake Arrowhead. Experience holiday cheer, outdoor adventure, and live entertainment. Santa welcomes everyone to his nostalgic Christmas village. The Christmas celebration begins November 17th through January 8th. Tickets sell out fast, so go to skyparksantasvillage.com and reserve your tickets now. Merry Christmas! Contact your license at 47781. Exactly, it's that time again. One time, rejuvenation. We gonna rejuvenate everyone's furnace? Yes, for just $129. Rejuvenating your furnace is extremely very important. If you have a gas furnace, there are 5 life-saving systems that need to be checked before you fire it up. And if you have electric heat, rejuvenating your system is even more extremely very important. $129 is all it takes to keep your family safe. Get air conditioning and plumbing. TLE-TTL.com. We do things the right way, not the easy way. Are you suffering with knee pain? Have you tried shots, pills, yet you are still suffering with chronic knee pain caused by bone-on-bone osteoarthritis, a torn meniscus, a fall, or accident? Have you been told that you need a knee replacement? Here is good news from Dr. Philip Yu, founder of 21st Century Pain Institute. You may now have hope of reducing or eliminating your pain with a new non-surgical painless laser stem cell treatment. The West Coast's only laser-guided stem cell therapy. This new treatment may reduce or eliminate your knee pain in minutes. And Dr. Yu is using this treatment on NFL alumni players with their knee and back injuries. Here's a special offer. Dr. Yu is offering a special $97 new knees in a day exam that includes an infrared laser joint inflammation scan, a Neuro 7 nerve test, and X-ray MRI review. Normally $375, but just $97 for the first 27 callers. Grab your cell phone and dial pound 250 and say knee pain. There is only a limited number of $97 exams. So on your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say knee pain. Introducing Spectrum One. Get Spectrum Internet with speeds of 300 megabits per second. Advanced Wi-Fi with best-in-class security and privacy. Spectrum Mobile with unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G. Get it all with Spectrum One. Spectrum Internet, advanced Wi-Fi, and one line of Spectrum Mobile Unlimited for only $49.99 a month. Visit Spectrum.com or a Spectrum store today. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Amy King. The season of giving is here, and only the free iHeartRadio app is giving you all the live radio stations, playlists, and podcasts you love for free. Did you hear that? You pay absolutely nothing to listen to KFI anywhere, anytime on the free iHeartRadio app. Plus, you can share what you listen to with everyone in your life with just one tap. Don't just tell your friends and family about what you heard. Let them hear it absolutely free. The iHeartRadio app takes the season of giving to the next level. Don't be a turkey. Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
The rest of us have to pay that $400 billion. That's $400 billion that goes on our backs because this college crowd isn't paying their loan off. It's not forgiveness of the debt, Jonathan. It's a transfer of the debt. We pay the two on KFI.
Gary and Shannon. KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Jeopardy now offended people. People who are sticking up for a murderer. Okay, this is where we're going. I see everyone's offended by everything. Brian Laundrie, remember him? He killed his girlfriend Gabby Petito after the two were on a road trip. Well, Brian Laundrie's family now demanding an apology from Celebrity Jeopardy. Family attorney saying that the entire Laundrie family is appalled. Believes that this clue was distasteful. I'll tell you about it coming up in the 12 o'clock hour.
Did you hear about bad announcing last night in the Warriors game?
No.
This would have been what seemed like the standard broadcast of what was a blowout last night for the Warriors. Tim Hardaway Saturday. So Tim Hardaway, Chris Mullen, and Mitch Richmond were the announcers last night. They call it the Run TMC Takeover, and it's very fun. Like, it's the three former players. They played together. They were a great trio for the Warriors. So Draymond Green alters a shot late in the second quarter, and Tim Hardaway says,
Oh, y'all thought that was great? I thought that was just racist. I think
That was what?
you thought that was great, D? I thought that was just raping him.
Oh, no.
And then said something like they should have called the cops on them.
I'm bringing people
Awkward silence throughout the Chase Center, and then it turned out it came back later after one of the other commercial breaks.
of course, cuss of words early in the broadcast. I want to apologize for that. And, let's get back to the game. Let's finish this game off with a 30-point win and go home happy.
Yeah, and just call me back. Please call me back.
A torrent of grief has enveloped the University of Virginia, and we'll get into those details after your chance at $1,000.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, deposit. That's deposit, DEPOSIT. Enter it now at KFIAF640.com/cash. Powered by Sweet James Accident Attorneys. If you're hurt in an accident, winning is everything. Call the winning attorneys at Sweet James. 800-500-5200. That's 800-500-5200 or sweetjames.com.
They're going to put that, you are going to put that word in on the website. Don't text it. You're going to put it on the website, and then winners will be notified via email. So keep an eye on it.
Classes are canceled for a second day at the University of Virginia after 3 football players were killed on campus. We've got new details this morning about the fellow student accused of killing them. There was a vigil last night where it looked like hundreds, even thousands of people were there. Candles blazed around the statue of Homer along with signs reading UVA strong and 11541. The uniform numbers of the killed players, Devin Chandler, Lavelle Davis Jr., and Deshaun Terry.
I saw some criticism of that, saying that football players' lives are valued more than other people's lives, and I
They're
don't
not
think
just football players.
well, and I don't think that was necessarily why there were that many people there. I think it was that many people knew them. It's not that they valued them more because they were football players. It's that they had name recognition, and probably they felt like, well, if it can happen to a high-profile student like that, then maybe they wouldn't feel safe.
Also, remember, students were locked down in their dorms for hours as this manhunt was going on. This touched the entire campus, knowing these guys or not. I mean, those had to be harrowing hours where you're wondering if there's an active shooter going from dorm to dorm or what have you. It looks like this shooter was the subject, as we told you yesterday, of a pending case with the university's judicial council. When it unfolded back in September, there was a student that went to student affairs and said that this guy made a comment to him about possessing a gun. So they were looking into this guy. His parents are talking, and his dad says, "I can't believe it was him. I still can't believe it now." About 10 a.m. yesterday, mom and dad's home with guns drawn to locate this guy. He was not at the house. His mother could be seen inside her van sobbing with her kids nearby. She told the local NBC station that her son seemed normal when they spoke Sunday, was excited to celebrate his 23rd birthday in just a few short days.
Yeah, she said she tried to call him several times when she learned of the shooting, but couldn't get him over the phone. It was this guy's father, who says the last time he spoke with his son was a month ago, and he gave an interview, a pretty lengthy interview with the NBC affiliate there in Virginia.
I couldn't believe it was him. I still can't believe it now.
The last time Christopher Darnell Jones Sr. spoke with his son was about a month ago.
And he came to the house and he did his laundry. And we sat and talked, and he was doing real well.
That's why he's heartbroken and confused about the accusations against his son.
I don't know what happened between then and now because this to happen.
Jones Sr. says the 22-year-old didn't begin living with him and his grandmother until around his high school years.
He got into school, got on the football team at Petersburg High, and excelled. He excelled in everything. He was everybody's friend. Everybody loved Chris, especially when he passed his teeth and smile.
But when they last spoke, Jones Sr. admits something was off about his son.
He had some problems. When the last time I talked to him, he said he was picking on him or whatever. He didn't know how to handle it. I just told him, just go to school. Don't pay him no mind. got to do it. He was real paranoid when I talked to him about something. He wouldn't tell me everything.
Now, that's a weird, to me, time for a young man to say that to his father. I understand the idea of when you're junior high school, you're a younger teenager and you talk about being picked on and not knowing how to handle it. This guy was 22 years old. How does he not have the life skills at that point? Unless, and we've said this many times as well, this age range, this 18 to 25, and he's right smack in the middle of it, is absolute prime time for some of these mental struggles to kind of rear their ugly.
Well, and it seems like he was a practice squad guy, and the 3 guys that he shot and killed were very talented. Lavelle Davis, a junior from South Carolina, one of the top wide receivers for the Cavaliers. He's 6'7", primary deep threat for this team, 23.2 yards per catch. He's putting up incredible numbers. Then Perry, linebacker, playing well as well. Chandler is a junior wide receiver kick returner. Came over from the University of Wisconsin, and it is just and the thing is, it's not just this school; it's even their rival schools, Virginia Tech, Syracuse. Everyone's really affected by this because these guys were really well known.
When we come back, we'll also give you a quick update on the story out of Idaho as well, where the 4 University of Idaho students were found killed, and some of the latest information. Again, this is just as mysterious, if not more so, because we don't know what happened. We'll explain. Gary and Chandler will continue. Mark Ronner is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. A Riverside County deputy and his daughter have been killed in a DUI crash in Riverside County. The crash happened Sunday just before 9 p.m. in Hemet. The driver and his passenger were seriously hurt and taken to a hospital. The driver's been arrested for 2 counts of homicide, among other charges. News brought to you by Sweet James Accident Attorneys. Mourners say the leadership of the former El Monte police chief helped the community heal after the fatal shooting of 2 officers. Lowry was appointed chief this past summer, shortly after the officers were killed.
Most were unaware that had just received news of what would have happened.
Chief, nor did he want people to know about the cancer.
He would not allow even the slightest bit of attention to be taken from his fallen officers.
Lowry is 45, survived by a wife and 4 children.
October 24th, 2022.
Corbin Carson, KFI News.
A judge has delayed approving the settlement of a lawsuit over the homeless crisis in L.A.
The federal judge says he wants to wait and see who becomes the next mayor of LA. The judge yesterday indicated that the city and the county can do better in figuring out how to bring increased housing, outreach, and supportive services to the thousands of people living on the street. The LA Alliance for Human Rights filed a lawsuit in 2020 accusing the city and county of not doing enough to address the homeless problem. A court hearing is expected in January once the election results are finalized. Deborah Mark, KFI News.
And Southland weather from KFI, sunny today with highs in the upper 60s at the beaches, low 70s in metro LAOC, and the valleys, mid 60s in the IE. We've got a wind advisory in effect from 10 tonight until 7 tomorrow night. We'll get down to the 40s tonight, and then sun and 70s throughout the weekend. We'll head out now to a stall in downtown LA on the 110. On southbound side, the 101 going to be taking away middle lanes. Looks like that's going to be a 50 drive for you on the 110 southbound as you come away from the Lincoln Heights and Lincoln Park area, leaving the 5. Unrelated slowing for you a little bit here and there through South LA beyond the 10. Northbound side of the 110, really roughly right off the 105 as you make your way back to downtown to the 101. Southbound 101, heavy for your drive out of the Woodland Hills area right now. From Winnetka Avenue into Sherman to the 405 southbound. Taking a Paxton type drive where you're still coming through the San Bernardino Valley, leaving Sherman Way into through West LA to make way toward almost Wilshire Boulevard this morning. KFI in the Sky helps get there faster. I'm Nick Poliokini.
Some banks can make it complicated by redeem credit card rewards. But with Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Talk about amazing. Learn more at discover.com/redeem-rewards. Terms apply.
Hey, there's a better way to fly. Instead of being stuck in endless lines and packed onto planes, try simplifying your travel with Surf Air. Save an average of 2 hours on every trip and avoid crowded airports with a new way to fly private. With Surf Air, you'll fly from smaller airports closer to your home. There are no lines, no waiting, and no stress. SurfAir.com, the best alternative to commercial air travel that makes flying easy. Get a free quote on your next flight at SurfAir.com. There's a better way to fly private. The Magic of Christmas, the season of light, starring the Young Americans is back. Show dates are December 9th through the 18th at the beautiful La Mirada Theater. This show features holiday music from around the globe, amazing costumes, and a giant light wall that has beautiful images. This is an all-new show that features favorite moments from Christmas shows past, new musical numbers from holiday present, and a magical peek at the Christmas shows yet to come. There's something magical for everyone in the family. The kids will be talking about this show for years. The tickets go to youngamericans.org. Youngamericans.org.
Do you know what the 3 biggest problems are that people have with most plumbers? Think about it for a minute. You could probably write the list yourself. They don't come when they say they will. They charge you more after the job than what they quoted to up front. And they don't fix the problem right the first time. And that's time for that kind of aggravation. At Service Champions, our plumbers are different. We'll be there in town, right when we say we'll be there. We'll give you a firm price in writing before we start. And all of our plumbing services are backed by our Happy Money promise. It's simple. If you're not happy, you don't pay. For us, it's all about respect for you, our customers. Call Service Champions right now for all of your plumbing needs. Our number is 833-777-7777 or find us online at servicechampions.com.
Sail with American Queen Voyages, where history comes alive and discovery runs deep. Enriching adventures await in North America's mighty rivers, Great Lakes, oceans, and expeditions to the wilds of Alaska. Visit American Queen Voyages at 82voyages.com, cruising North America now. Call 844-744-0794 or contact your travel professional. American Queen Voyages, discovery runs deep.
For all your ACP plumbing problems, call NextGen at 833-3NEXTGEN. 833-3NEXTGEN.
KFI AM 640.
You want some hot Grammy news? Beyonce has...
Oh, Grammy.
Yeah.
Like hot grandma.
Oh, hot grandma. I mean, I know you like them a little older, but
A little.
just like a month. Beyonce has propelled herself into the highest Grammy echelon. She claimed a leading 9 nominations today, making her tied with her husband as the most nominated music act in the history of the Grammys. They each have 88 apiece, 88 nominations.
Wow. And if I'm not mistaken, she and Adele and Taylor Swift are all nominated for Song of the Year, I think, or Record of the Year.
Her Break My Soul is nominated for Record and Song of the Year.
A trio. In much more important news, Russian missiles actually rained down on Kyiv today. At least 3 residential buildings were hit. The mayor of Kyiv, Vitaly Klitschko, wrote in a post on Telegram that a third multi-story building had been hit, and all 3 of these apparently in some one neighborhood called Picoftheday. At least 1 person was found dead in the buildings, but he said the search and rescue operations are ongoing.
It is tense in and around the University of Idaho. Very tense because the authorities there are saying that the public is not in danger, and in the same breath saying, but we don't know how those 4 students turned out dead.
Yeah, the only thing they've said, they haven't mentioned a manner of death. They did not even say that it was a violent death, which is strange. But the New York Times reports that the deaths, at least according to the county coroner, the deaths were not a case of murder-suicide. And they have not yet said if there is a suspect that they're looking for. They have said that they do not believe there is a wider danger to the community or to the campus itself.
The mayor of this very small town called the deaths a crime of passion and senseless acts of violence, but also says they could have been killed in a burglary gone wrong. Again, it's a very small town. They haven't had a murder on the books since 2015, and they seem woefully unprepared to handle an investigation of this magnitude.
Well, and the campus itself is not very large. It's only about 11,000, 12,000 students. So this is going to be I mean, I wouldn't even know it. When you look at the 4 people who were killed, Ethan Chapin of Conway, Washington, a freshman majoring in recreation, sports, tourism management, member of a fraternity. Idaho senior. She was a member of the Alpha Phi sorority. Now, does Greek life play into this at all? If all four of them were fraternity sorority members?
A chilling last photo posted by Kaylee just hours before the bodies were discovered showed the four standing on a house porch smiling with their arms around each other.
And by the way, Moscow, Idaho is beautiful. Especially right now, with all their packing. It's an incredible place.
Speaking of Kaylee,
yeah, so the story, we talked a little bit about this before, that Casey Anthony has sat down for an interview. It was several months ago that these interviews were done, but Peacock has come out with this three-part show about Casey Anthony and the death of her daughter Kaylee. Now, the trailer for it doesn't really get into a lot of what the interviews are about. Obviously, they want you to tune in and watch the show. But in this upcoming limited series, she points the finger squarely at her own father for the death of Kaylee.
I remember there was a big, my daughter's been missing for the last 31 days.
This is happening, the most closely watched case, certainly since O.J. Simpson.
To the charge of first-degree murder, not guilty. She just never told her story. Did she murder her daughter? Is he anything? Awesome. What do you think? Question for me. Why did I wait 31 days to call 911? Did you do everything in your power to protect your brother? The public thought that Casey didn't want to be a mother.
The lies make you think that she did murder this child.
Not the Casey that I knew. She loved that child. I don't know. Why?
She said, I lied.
Now,
Lie.
oh.
She admits
So-
she lied, but no one asked me.
If I remember correctly, didn't she accuse her father of molesting her during the trial?
Now, yes, and that's part of why this is not entirely new. Except she now says that her dad had moved on from her to the new victim, which would have been Kaylee because she was much younger. And that the last time she saw Kaylee was when she was unconscious, soaking wet in Dad's arms.
She said that George, the dad, staged Kaylee's drowning in order to cover up that he may have been abusing her. She recalled about the last day Kaylee was seen. Like you said, I wasn't feeling great. She said, I wanted to lay down. I had her lay in bed with me. I was awoken by my father, shaking me, asking me where Kaylee was. It didn't make sense. She would never even leave my room without telling me. I immediately started looking around the house. I go outside and I'm looking to see where she could be. That's when she saw her father holding Kaylee, standing there with her. She's soaking wet. He handed her to me. He said it was my fault that I caused it. But he didn't rush to call 911, and he wasn't trying to resuscitate her. I collapsed with her in my arms. She was heavy and she was cold. He takes her from me and immediately softens his tone and says, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, that Dad took Kaylee and went away. She said she decided to stay with her boyfriend, Tony, who at the time doesn't matter, but she didn't tell anyone about what happened that day because she was under the impression that Kaylee was still alive.
She says her dad kept telling her she was okay. I had to keep following his instructions, she said. He told me what to do. I tried to act as normal as I could. Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Okay. So did they interview him?
I do not know. That's a good question.
He was an odd figure, too. The whole family was odd.
So they were all not so fans. And the idea that, and I'm assuming that the spotlight kind of, amplified that perhaps. I mean, if you're a little bit crazy and you go out on national TV, you can be edited and produced in a way that makes you look even more crazy.
Yeah.
But not a good look for them. And listen, one of the other teasers for this series, this limited series, is one of the producers asking Casey Anthony, why are you sitting for this interview when you know you don't have creative control over this thing? She doesn't have yes or no power on the editing of this thing put together. So she may come off looking even more guilty than she did when she was found not guilty. administration history.
However, he says dozens of other federal agents, prosecutors, and informants, and in some cases cartel smugglers themselves, were all in on this joyride known as Team America.
Team America song?
I don't know it.
Oh, you should look it up. Don't look up the fish parts. Look up this. Gary and Shannon will continue in just a moment. Mark Rollner is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom. The race for mayor of LA is now separated by 29,000 votes, with Karen Bass pulling ahead of Rick Caruso as mail-in ballots continue to be counted. A senior U.S. intelligence official has just said Russian missiles have crossed into NATO member Poland, killing 2 people. And comedian Chris Rett's about to undergo surgery in the final stage of his recovery from a brutal hit to the face last month. His nose got busted up in an attack outside a New York City comedy club. SoCal weather sunny today with upper 60s at the beaches to low 70s inland, and a wind advisory from 10 tonight through 7 tomorrow night. This report brought to you by Stone Fire Grill. And it looks like a crash has been cleared in Glen Avon on the 60. There's a lot of as you're making your way out through the Urban Valley area before Highway. Everything has a couple of 2 left lanes, but still seeing a bit of a rough go for you heading westbound on the 60 as you come away from Riverdale Boulevard. Also off the 215 north out of Brandon Valley into and through the Riverside Interchange. That's definitely busy for you. For practice, it looks like it's Caltrans is not too far away from UCO that are working in lanes. Westbound 91 or Riverside through Corona, still kind of like asking for your drive here and there from before Van Buren as you make right past the 15 toward Main Street. KFI in the sky helps get to there faster. I'm Nick Polly-OD. This report is sponsored by El Monte RV, SoCal's trusted choice for RV rentals and sales. When you're ready to hit the road, El Monte RV has a wide range of RVs to rent or buy. Their pet-friendly RVs come with upgraded amenities, and some even have fly-outs for more room when you need it. Experience the freedom of the open road. Visit elmonterv.com or call 800-337-2149. If you have assets like a home, why not set up a trust or a will so everything transfers to your loved ones without costly delays? Make a quick call to Legal Docs by Me, and that's going to give you peace of mind. No expensive lawyers, no confusing websites, and you'll save thousands of dollars. Yes, I said thousands. All you have to do is call them right now. They're going to take down the necessary information and help you throughout the entire process. Just dial pound 250 on your cell phone and say Legal Docs. Pound 250, Legal Docs. Again, pound 250 and say Legal Docs. Legal Docs by Me. No lawyers. Save money. Peter Crowd this season with Stonefire Grills. It's easy to order. Check out Holiday Favorites Bundle. Each bundle includes tri-tip, boneless chicken breast, garlic mashed potatoes, barbecue chopped salad, corn on the cob, and freshly baked breadsticks. Order the Holiday Favorites Bundle for 10 or more at StonefireGrill.com. You. Y-O-U. 3 little letters to make a very small word.
That means so many things. Because no you is ever one single thing.
You.
If perfect sense starts to change everything, to begin a sentence beginning with you, kind of makes you wonder how big you can become when you come first.
Quality healthcare with award-winning service for every you. Blue Shield, California.
If you run a business, you might feel that advertising is more confusing than ever, but it doesn't have to be. At iHeart, we're built to help your business. With 9 out of 10 Americans listening to us, just like you are now, we can give you access to your next customers and the tools, strategies, data, and creative to reach us. We're America's #1 audio company, and it all starts from a conversation. So let us help you adjust your plans to improve your business and costs. Visit iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com. Survivors of clergy child sexual abuse in California have limited time to seek justice. Survivors have until December 31st, 2022 to take legal action. Contact Jeff Anderson and Associates for a confidential conversation. Call us at 1-800-ITS-SIGN, 120 San Vicente Boulevard, Suite 700, Los Angeles, California, and Attorney Advertising.
Southern California Edison has helpful info for emergency preparedness. Since the kids are older, we need to update our family plan again.
You're right. And what to deal with them so they know what to do.
They should know our evacuation plan, meeting place,
What's in the power outage and where the safety gate is.
good thinking. We can write down important phone numbers and put them in the text.
You think of everything.
No, I just went to SPE.com/beprepared. A little preparation goes a long way.
Hey, all, it's Team Sharp. Let's talk about your windows. I know a couple of things about your sad, sorry windows. I know there's a whole slew of reasons why you want new ones. Lower energy bills, more peace and quiet, better curb appeal, and how about just windows that actually open and close? I also know you can talk all you want, but if they're not affordable, it's just not going to happen. I hear you, and I have an answer for you. Call Gene and Karen at Window holidays at the Disneyland Resort, and KFI wants to send you to experience the festive joy you've been dreaming about. Magic is Sleeping Beauty's winter castle covered in festival lights. It's Disney Festival of Holidays and Disney Viva Navidad Street Party. Magic is the holidays now through January 8th. Both dates and park reservations required. Visit Disneyland.com for important details. Offering subject to capacity. Restrictions and change without notice. Keep listening for your chance to win, and good luck from KFI AM 640.
More stimulating talk.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Coming up after Mark's news at the top of the hour, we will dive into the Harvey Weinstein trial where Gavin Newsom's wife is testifying about the rape she says she endured at the hands of Harvey Weinstein back in 2005.
Jay Leno says it was a very fast-speaking friend who helped save his life after a gasoline fire broke out in his garage on Saturday. The former Tonight Show host, now 72, he said his mansion, one of his vehicles, they said, erupted into flames without warning. TMZ said the left side of his face was burned. A friend, Dave, saved his life, jumped on him, smothered the flames. Jay said that he was repairing a clogged fuel line when he got sprayed on his hands and his face with gasoline. But like we said yesterday, apparently no damage to his eye or ear, which would have been significant if in fact that had gotten there. So, and the rocket carrying the Artemis 1 capsule could finally get off the ground early tomorrow morning. It's late tonight, our time, but they've had to delay the Space Launch System debut because of hurricanes and weather interruptions, technically.
We told you Russia firing missiles at cities across Ukraine. Ukrainian Air Force said the larger country fired about 100 missiles targeting at least a dozen cities, many of the target's energy facilities. And then it just crossed that senior U.S. intelligence officials as Russian missiles have crossed into Poland, killing 2 people. Of course, that's the NATO country.
Oh, hold on a second. What?
Yeah.
I think I pooped a little bit just now.
Yeah, that's a big effing deal.
All right, well, let's keep an eye on that. Speaking of we mentioned earlier, the former President Trump is expected to make an announcement today that he's going to be running again. That announcement was currently scheduled for 6 o'clock our time. Keep an eye on that. Jose Zari.
He knows he's known as the most corrupt agent in DEA history, but he says it wasn't just him that was into the lavish lifestyle of expensive cars, Tiffany jewels, paramours around the world. Paramour is such a nice word for a hooker, isn't it? He says all the revelry, and it wasn't just him, was rooted in a realization among DEA agents in Colombia that there's nothing they can do to make a dent in the drug war anyway.
Yeah, he says you can't win an unwinnable war. DEA knows this. The agents know this. There's so much dope leaving Colombia, and there's so much money. We know we're not making a difference.
He says we had free access to do whatever we wanted. We would generate money pickups in places we wanted to go, and once we got there, it was all about drinking and girls.
Now, there's a couple things about this case that have kind of opened people's eyes on what the DEA is and does. And one of the things that the DEA is and does is a massive money laundering operation that every year the Drug Enforcement Administration launders tens of millions of dollars on behalf of drug cartels through a bunch of different shell companies. This is supposed to be a way to kind of draw the cartels in, bring them closer, get to see some of their books, where the money is coming in.
You're living on the edges. You're living on the edges. Life on the edges, right?
Right. Well, if nothing else, if you're talking about tens of millions of dollars, all it takes is 1 or 2 agents to go, you know what, I'm going to take 25 grand here, or a $30,000 vacation there, or 50,000 for my paramours.
He did a series of interviews before beginning his 12 laundering pickups, mostly for party purposes or to coincide with Real Madrid soccer or Rafael Nadal tennis matches. Stops along the way in VIP rooms of Caribbean strip clubs, Amsterdam's red light district, aboard a Colombian yacht that launched with plenty of booze and more than a dozen prostitutes. That sounds like a lot of cleanup on aisle 9.
So obviously this is focused on him, but also on a jet-setting former partner of Jose Irizarry, and that guy's name is George Romero. One of the former partners traveled overseas all the time for these money laundering investigations, hero trips, and etc., using names of people that didn't exist in these DEA reports.
George remained a DEA agent even after he was arrested and detained on allegations of sexual assault during a trip to Madrid in 2018. He resigned only after being stripped of his gun badge and security clearance for invoking his Fifth Amendment right to stay silent. When prosecutors charged Irizarry summoned George to testify before a federal grand jury in Tampa.
And the feds want George bad, to the point where they have gone after George's brother now. George's brother is like a wedding photographer.
That sounds shady as well.
So he allegedly was traveling and partying around the world with these DEA agents through his brother, and the brother was even granted immunity in exchange for cooperation, but the brother will not testify, and in fact has been held in jail in civil contempt since March because he's not testifying against his brother.
So some current and former DEA agents are like, what? That's all baloney. That's all make-believe. We would never engage in hookers and yachts and strip clubs and money laundering gone awry. No, this guy is just telling tales.
The money laundering business as well, they said they've faced a bunch of criticism as the DEA for allowing huge amounts of money in these operations to go unseen. That enables these cartels to continue doing what they do. They fail to tightly monitor and track stings. It makes it difficult to evaluate the results in all of this. And listen, like I said, when you're talking about tens and sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars in the course of a year, and one agent skims off 10,000 or 50,000, you're not going to notice it necessarily. And that's part of why this was such a big, huge deal for them and so easy for them to do.
Since his arrest, he has written a self-published book. It's called Getting Back on Track, an attempt to own up to his mistakes and pursue a simpler path after bringing so much shame upon himself and his family. His wife, Colombian-born wife, wants a divorce. And he's just upset that he's the one that fell on the sword here. To date, prosecutors have yet to charge any other agents. Several former colleagues have quietly retired rather than endure the disgrace of possibly being fired. He says, I have told them everything I know. All they have to do is do.
Now, the thing about his trips also is what I think is it will trip you up every single time in terms of the lavish lifestyle that he was going through, where he'd take a huge trip to, like you said, Spain to go watch a soccer match or something like that, but then he would travel with his $20,000 Hublot watch. He bought a $767,000 home in Cartagena, Colombia. How much does a $767,000 home, how much does that get you in Cartagena? I know it's a resort city, but come on, that's got to be mansion-like.
Wasn't it Cartagena where the Secret Service was busted for not tipping the hooker?
I don't, it was somewhere, yes. Was it Cartagena? May have been Cartagena. That's a bad customer. You're going to get a bad Yelp review if